The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Simmer!
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like,
who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first?
Well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host.
you could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
The Renegade, JJ Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am founder. We'll call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it!
The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the Heb Man, James Hebert.
Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies. There you go. It sells
Oh,
itself.
God.
Get in there.
Short his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ. Give it time.
Now, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that
Dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
He is no longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to... No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen.
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So it's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine. And
that's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
Football thing. We got it on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the thing goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, bloody brilliant.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's installment of Open Mic Night. I, of course, am your moderator, your host extraordinaire, the Renegade JJ Williams, here today with my illustrious and esteemed panel, the West Coast Professor, the Sith Master, Jeff Mother effing Meacham.
Ready to go, bro. Let's do the thing.
the Heb Man, James Hebert.
Heb Man himself.
Got that, Bebs.
Right,
And
that
Big
Bebs.
Baller G in the place to be.
You know how
Raymond,
it is.
Raymond, what is going on? Daniel, how's it going? Darren G. Gabrielle, good to see you. Hassan, thank you for being here early. The early birds. Gabrielle, absolutely rest in peace to Jay. That's why I made sure we threw that in there. But before throwing to the 10 bell, I wanted to have a little bit of that lighter side. We made sure we shared that video during Talk Wrestling, and I wanted to slide that in there tonight as well. So
yeah, it's before we get too far into the meat and taters of that topic, I will say this. We were all encouraged all week to hug our loved ones close after what happened with Jay and his daughters. Not a lot of people know, as far as in the wrestling circle, because I've kept it pretty quiet the last 24 hours. I left work early yesterday because my dad and my son were in a car accident yesterday. They're fine. The car looks like absolute hell, but they're fine. But I'm at work when this happens. They're getting ready to send me home early because there was too many of us and too little work to do because we slow for now. But goddamn, man, please, if you guys do nothing else before you all go to bed watching this show, before you all, go out to work tomorrow morning, give your loved ones a hug and a kiss because you just don't know, man.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
scary shit yesterday.
It was that was just the case in general. Like I'm still like looking at that and like it didn't feel real even when it happened. Like it all happened so fast.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my dad and called my mom immediately because it's something that you don't realize until you have like reality kind of hit you in the face like this. And
it was just so weird, James, because I was literally waiting for the clock out to go home, and Dylan calls me. It's like he never calls me on a Friday unless he's just saying on my way to mom's, at mom's, whatever. And I hear road noise, and I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking, shit goes through your mind, and then he says, "We're in an accident." First thing out of his mouth, "We're in an accident." I'm like, oh my God, he's calling me. Why isn't dad? Why isn't mom? My brain's just all over the place. So yeah, just again, we're talking about Jay briefly here, and we'll go into other stories that have circulated throughout the wrestling world this week. But again, y'all, Noah's gonna tell you at the end. Noah is here tonight. Jay, he's on his way, or
hopefully, I haven't heard anything from him.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, if he doesn't show up for a rare time, I wouldn't be surprised after this week. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. I think he's definitely taken the Jay death the hardest by judging his reaction.
No, I don't begrudge it for a second. I was just saying, if whoever closes the show, whether it's Noah and his usual awesomeness or one of us, just again, can't have said enough, guys. Just appreciate what you have, and more importantly, who you have.
Yeah, for real.
Absolutely. So before we get too deep into the topics at hand, and yes, as alluded to, the Jay Briscoe situation will be the opening topic. Just want to go around the ring here a little bit, see how everyone's doing this week, how everyone's been since last week. Big G, we'll start with you. How's it been this week, man?
Doing pretty good. I mean, we talked about Jay on Tuesday at Talk Wrestling. AEW is what it was. SmackDown, if you watched it was what it was. I did start watching the Eagles and Giants game earlier after I got off of work, and of course the Eagles, they're winning. So, and I did wear them boys shirts on Tuesday.
You did,
representing the Briscoes, and I'm gonna be, I guess, rooting for the Cowboys against the Niners. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Yeah, it's interesting that the four of us were all here together for Talk Wrestling, and now we're all back here for Open Mic Night. I know Scat Boy and Dory Lou both said that they'll be chiming in after work. Just gotta wait for them to
Yes.
get relieved of their duties and get home.
Yes.
James, how have you been since we saw you last on Talk Wrestling?
Well,
I know the Briscoe thing hit you probably harder than it hit the rest of the three of us, and especially when you saw that video that was shared on Tuesday and then that was aired right before his 10-bell salute.
Yeah,
I know that hit you pretty hard. How are you doing since this, man? Consider this a mental health check on all the guys in the room right now.
We're doing it live. Okay, well, fuck it. All right, so I'll just be raw about it because no pun intended, obviously, since this is a wrestling show.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Just to lighten up the mood a little bit. That wouldn't be the only time I cried about it that day or that night, rather. Right.
That's fair.
Right after I got off the air, I helped end my stream or end my recording that Casey and Owen were doing for their retro of Rumble 08. And then I just went to bed and bawled. Like it was rough. But from there, I don't know. It was just things kind of after the initial grieving. I don't know what happened, but like things were going good after that. Like without getting into too much detail, things started kind of going in the right places. Made connection with an old friend. We've buried the hatchet on things, and then we from there I ended up recording a fun retro on Rumble 2000, which was also in the Garden with Owen, and
good.
Had a fun, which is funny because I was expecting bigger things, but then I realized, oh wait, this Rumble's not that great, the actual match itself, but the street fight rules, table match rules, Taz debut rules, even though we saw what happened afterwards. So we had a good time talking about the Rumble, and lots of laughs were had there. So it's been pretty good. It's been pretty good.
Lots of laughs have definitely been had in my house over the last 24 to 48 hours with the Rumble. As kind of told you guys before we came on the air, my daughter's here this weekend. Apparently, she just started to finally get into wrestling on her own. She sat down with me and with her Uncle Jeff a few times, tried to watch it. Her Uncle Mikey, who'll be in the room later. And she's like watched it, but never really got into it, never really taken into it. But for some reason, she still hasn't told me the full reason what made her decide to sit down and try to give it a chance on her own. But she started sitting down recently, watching it, and she is a huge fan of our tribal chief, the head of the table, the big dog, Roman Reigns.
That's the reason.
So, but what provoked her to sit down and turn it on to see him in the first place? Like, that's what I'm curious about. Was it a conversation with someone at school? Was it a conversation maybe with Jeff's son, Dylan, who's a longtime friend of hers? Like, what inspired her and put that thought into her head? Like, hey, I need to sit down and watch Raw, SmackDown, whatever, and see what's going on in this world. But she's a Reigns fan now. She's a member of the bloodline. She's an honorary Oos.
Ooh, Oosie, feeling Oosie. I think I have. I may have the answer.
Go for it.
Okay. Who was the actor that played Aquaman?
Dude,
Jason Momoa.
Because that's the reason. Because he looks like Aquaman.
The Wish version of Jason Momoa.
Yeah. So she,
that's fair.
Because Jason Momoa looks like Roman Reigns, she probably looked at Roman Reigns and is like, okay, I'm in the wrestling now.
That's a fair assessment. But yeah, so for like the last 24 hours, I've been watching old Rumbles, getting ready for a show we're going to film, me and Jeff. Coming up here this week, we'll go ahead and throw the shameless plug out there now, and we'll get to it later. The top 10 biggest surprise entries in the Royal Rumble. So I've been going back and rewatching old Rumbles, and she's sitting here with Cece's daughter, Kyra, and they're just making up all kinds of random names for the superstars. And it's just a sight to behold, a spectacle to watch. Like, you think WrestleMania is the grandest spectacle of them all? No. A 14 and 15-year-old teenage girls coming up with their own nicknames, professional wrestlers, that is a grand spectacle.
With zero references to who they are prior to going in.
Yeah. Or what their storylines are or anything. Statboy has joined the room. What is up, Statboy?
Hello, my internet fans. Good evening on this wonderful Saturday night.
Saturday.
Nathan, hello in the chat room. Emmanuel, I see you there. Hello.
We acknowledge you, Nathan.
So we'll come back to you, Statboy, because we were already going around the room. Meacham, how have you been since Talk Wrestling? And
Disneyed the hell out.
Is there such a thing?
Well, even for me, yes, there is, and I will say that with an asterisk next to it. So we finished Talk Wrestling, as somber as that shit was. I get up the next morning at a.m. in the morning, down to Anaheim to sign in. Friends of friends at first. They are all my friends, but I met them through the notorious understated Travis Leland, who ran Wild and hired me as his creative person for that company for a mutual friend's birthday. So we signed 3 people. Kind of turned into a cluster for a good chunk of the day because of birthday party familial issues, and we all know how that goes, especially at a theme park. It just is what it is. But it turned out really nice. Went over to Star Wars Land to kind of end-ish the night. Oga's Cantina was, anybody that's been to a theme park or seen the scenes in Star Wars with the cantina, you know how they do. I will say it's good to see Rex, the former captain of Star Tours, who's out of work, to get a job as a DJ. It's even funny to hear him, when he powers down every once in a while, he starts laughing like this. And if you know, you know. Anyway, so Thursday, went back to Disney even earlier in the friggin' morning because I was there when the park opened, rope drop, with my scooter.
Somebody's a glutton for punishment.
Hey, no, well, to be fair, Thursday, JJ, you've met my friend Jess and her significant other. Met them at the 24-hour day that we went to, one of the many we went to. So I signed her and her boyfriend and their friend who was celebrating 90-day sobriety. So congrats to our mutual friend now, Grace, for that. And we celebrated by going to the cantina because that's what Grace told us to do. She goes, right. We want you to do this place right. It was all their first time in Star Wars Land. So she didn't want to downplay doing everything. So we went to the cantina, and she insisted we have proper cantina beverages. So she had coffee. The rest of us didn't. And then we went over to not only the cantina, but Trader Sam's Tiki Bar at the hotel where they have their really good drinks. Okay, here the one drawback of the whole night, and JJ will appreciate this because he's a SoCal boy. Mikey, you're a former SoCal boy.
No, I'm still SoCal. Just because I live in Tennessee, I'm still SoCal.
Quite
in my heart.
So 10% chance of rain in the weather forecast can mean anything in Southern California.
This is accurate.
It can drop. That was not the case Thursday night. Because as we're outside on the patio at the Tiki Bar, 10% became 100% in about 0.5 seconds.
Cool.
Now, where was Uncle Jeff's work-issued rain duster, you ask in the crowd? It was sitting right here on the couch at the house. So no cover. Did bring an umbrella because 10%. Hoodie. Then once they went home and I had to overnight it because I had to work yesterday morning, I had forgotten about the roaring fireplace at the Grand Californian Hotel over by California Adventure. So I literally hauled my shit over to the hotel, put my backpack, including the canvas bag that was now soaked through damn near. Luckily, the book I had in there was saved, and literally put my feet up by the fire. Got so comfortable with my beverages, which were non-alcoholic at this point, and snacks, that I fell asleep in front of the fire. It was wonderful.
Jeez.
Oh no, it was wonderful because I wasn't the only one doing that. It was just I was the only one that wasn't a hotel guest.
There you go.
But I just popped up. The security finally came through about 1:45, and I had to work at 9:30. And they're like, we got to clear everybody out. California, we don't care. It's just California state law. Everybody's got to go home. They can't stay here type deal. And are you a guest in the hotel? I said, no, but I showed him my blue ID, and he goes, just find another place to be. We're not going to run you off the property. We understand, it is what it is. So I literally just went over to Costamine and started my day pretty much. I got showered, I got shaved. Can't tell now, but got dressed, had breakfast, and just went to work at 9:30 after discovering that, well, I can't get into what happened, but basically I was double charged at one of our restaurants. I have to find out why at City Hall in the morning. That'll be a fun start to my Sunday.
There you go.
Outside of work, great stuff other than the car accident yesterday. Just realizing that I get to be here for the Rumble with you guys.
Yes.
I get to be here for NXT coverage of Vengeance Day, which I did not know until yesterday. And I officially found out I am off for my birthday and that week, so I may still go to San Francisco. I haven't decided if I'm going yet. But I am also announcing to the – can you move me over just a second, JJ? Can you move me over here real quick? Since you're producing. Thank you. I am not to the entirety of the multiverse of media. Jeff Meacham, whether he's on site or in the room with us, will be at WrestleMania week for our coverage.
All right. Very cool. Very cool.
Tasty beverage to that.
Oh.
Before we throw over to Mikey, let's bring in Dory Lou.
Yay!
How's it going, Dory?
It's been an interesting day.
Okay.
Interesting day. Well, Mikey and I actually got to work together today. We don't do it very often. We have some interesting customers on occasion. Like those people who don't carry proper ID with them and then get mad when we won't sell them stuff.
Now, to be clear, this isn't a Dollywood.
No.
Okay.
No, this is at the gas station we work at.
Gas station ID. Okay, these are always fun stories.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't had any problems on any of the shifts I've been on. No, it's like, okay. Oh, Mikey has. And it's just, it's like, okay, may I see your ID? Well, I don't have it on me. Well, then I can't sell you this item. Why not? Because you're under this age and I need to verify you are old enough to actually purchase this item.
But the guy yesterday did it.
Yeah, well,
I did not.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on that crap.
I actually haven't heard that argument yet.
That's a common one out here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Really quickly, Emmanuel, I see your super chat. Give us a second to get through the room and how everyone's doing. We'll get to you.
Doesn't Aaron always
Dory?
That's at the end of these conversations, y'all. Be patient.
So we so far I haven't had any difficulties with it. They've been, they haven't been happy, but they haven't like custom got an attitude or anything. It's like, well, then I guess I'm not buying it. Okay, have a great day.
Okay.
There you go.
They're not gonna find me for not selling you a bottle.
I haven't got at least you haven't gotten that Karen energy yet. Like that's when you dread it the most, when that eventually starts happening.
That was last year for me.
Well,
boy.
They are in Tennessee, so Karen Jarrett could be a possibility. God forbid.
Oh no,
Karen JARRETT. Ain't she
crazy? Yeah.
Ain't she crazy? Yes.
But he's a horseman, so there, it's okay.
But other than that, we've got some customers. We've got some very regular customers. Was talking with a lady today. I went outside for a short break, and she had this cute little Thai Beanie Baby owl in her windshield. And so we started talking because I love owls. And it turns out her daughter works for the post office. She's a mail carrier. And but she's also an author on the side. And so she gave me the information, and I might actually get to meet this young lady before too long. So if I can do this real quick, a little plug, just a tiny little plug. I haven't books yet. The synopsises look really good. And of course, I don't have it with me. So we'll catch it on Tuesday's show.
All right. There you go.
I moved it. I emptied out my pocket. I changed out of my work pants into my sweatpants, and it's somewhere in my bedroom now.
To the owl, just let the owl know I said, "Whoo, whoo, whoo."
Cute. Very cute.
And then that boy, my brother, how are you doing this week?
Doing great. Keeping up with fantasy hockey, getting ready for fantasy baseball, doing the job. Just getting ready for Royal Rumble. Just looking forward to everything that's coming up this month and next month, and with the channel and everything. Again, just working, waiting for stories, and just loving it, man. Just loving it.
Cool. Yeah, this weekend was the rare off weekend for us, as far as doing commentary. I mean, originally we were going to do Prestige Wrestling Vendetta's show, but it wasn't available on Fight TV. It wasn't available on any streaming platform that we could easily access. So we had to cancel it, which was a bummer because I was really looking forward to calling B-Boy's match.
Yeah. Yep.
But, as the late great Dusty Rhodes would say, it is what it is, baby. We've got the Rumble next week. We've got Vengeance Day after that. We've got Raw is 30 on Monday. 6 hours worth of coverage, as you're going to get Noah and James calling the action from 5 to 8 East Coast time. And then Jeff and I calling the action from 8 to 11 West Coast time. So much stuff ahead, but we'll get into all that in the plugs. We are going to start the show as we alluded to. We're going to discuss briefly the passing of Jamin Pugh, better known as Jay Briscoe, who passed away on Tuesday.
He was young.
Yeah, he was. More specifically, because we did cover this pretty extensively on Talk Wrestling. I did want to get into some of the latest developments that have come out. 2 days ago, it was posted by Jay's wife, Ashley, who posted updates on their daughters who were in the car as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, everybody was wearing seatbelts except for Jay Briscoe. So that kind of explains his demise right there. But the update says currently the girls are stable, but they both have a very long road of recovery ahead of them. Gracie, 12, when she originally got to the hospital, couldn't feel anything from the waist down. She was diagnosed with an L2 dislocation and an L3 and L4 fracture in her back with compression on her spinal cord. After the hospital got her stabilized, they transferred her to another hospital, and she got feeling back in her thighs, but nothing lower than her knee. She was taken straight for an MRI and surgery on Wednesday morning around 3 a.m. The doctor was able to relieve the compression on the spinal cord, and surgery went well as expected. When you have trauma to your spinal cord, it's a waiting game. With the swelling and trauma, you have to wait. She still has feelings in her thighs, but no movement as of yet. Gracie had tingling in her feet on and off today, and her progress will be a day-to-day basis for months to come. She is bruised up pretty badly, but at this time, no other injuries have been diagnosed. Jaylee was diagnosed with an open tibia and fibula fracture at the hospital where she underwent surgery. They placed an external fixator on and sent her back to the hospital. She has since been diagnosed with a C7 fracture in her neck and has been placed in a neck brace, which she will be in for 6 weeks. She also has an L3 and L4 fracture in her back, which can be managed with a back brace for about 12 weeks. She has a right clavicle fracture from the seatbelt, as well as a broken rib on the right side. She has a small left pneumothorax, which is the air between the lung and chest wall, not inside the lung. They are just monitoring that, as it's not large enough for intervention at this point, which is a blessing. Today she was diagnosed with a perforated bowel with free fluid in her abdomen. She had some internal bleeding in her stomach area. They knew about it, and they were watching it, and today they were able to pinpoint it and find out where it was. That surgery went awesome. That got in there and got the bleeding under control and got her on the mend. She went to the OR for that today. They did a bowel resection, which means they took a little of it out, nothing that is long-term effects. While she was down there, the orthopedics decided to do another washout of her leg and some manipulation to the bones for better alignment. She still has the eternal fixator in place, and they placed an NG tube down her nose to decompress her stomach. They will take it out tomorrow, and this will allow her to eat. It was then stated that both girls are in a lot of pain and they were hoping for a good night's sleep. Family's friends asked for continued prayers for the family, and Ashley thanked everyone who has prayed, supported, donated, or helped in any way. To which I did see a tweet that the Steen family, Kevin Steen, donated $10,000 to the cause and the recovery and everything. So big ups to you, Kevin, for that. You know, Jeff may say that you were always a dick to him in public, but when it comes to stuff like this, you definitely can see the softer side of the KO show.
It has been so, and again, a good chunk of us have either been on the independent scene or worked with these guys or, you know, interacted with these guys over the last, God, the Briscoes been on
20 years.
The very first match 20 years ago. So Kevin's post was rough. Delirious, I think, was the hardest for me to read. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they've all been god awful. Just heart-wrenching. But Delirious's post really hit a tweet post really hit home. Pierce, I mean, God, Pierce was back with these guys so long too. It's crazy how people forget how far back these wrestling families go. And it is so awesome for me, having known the majority of the people that I've seen post about, you know, the long-term relationships with Jay and Mark and with Ring of Honor and, you know, the other independents, and seeing the outpouring of support and, you know, prayer and positive vibes, if you don't believe in necessarily in the actual prayer deal, which, you know,
right.
It's very refreshing. Yes, this is it's the worst thing that could possibly happen to a family. To kind of translate the medical techno stuff that JJ wrote out, basically the elder daughter is right now not confirmed to be paralyzed the rest of her life, and she does have feeling, which is so good. Not movement is not necessarily cause for a parade, but the fact that she's got feeling there is significant. So that's good.
Yeah.
Compression on the spine. Ashley's 100% right. It is a waiting game. It's a mucker feather, man. You literally have to hurry up and wait. It's like being a line at Disneyland. You got to hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait for procedures, surgeries, appointments, everything. It's just sitting there and just doing this shit. It's terrible.
Criminal policy. Hurry up and wait.
Yeah, I mean, really, that's Disney corporate policy. That's hospital policy. It just is what it is. I would not be surprised if the Jay Driller comes out at some point Saturday night. I really would be surprised if it wasn't seen, Kevin or somebody during the Rumble or something. It was used quite a bit on Impact wow, I went way backwards. Dynamite apparently, and also during the tribute show that they filmed. I'll come back to it later when you guys talk to me again, but I do want to talk about the alleged decision by Warner Media about Jay and the tribute show, but I don't want to get too far down the negative rabbit hole either.
Yeah, I was not really going to dive into that because I didn't want to get to too much negativity. It's already a kind of depressing topic, so if you wanted to just quickly get your 2 cents out, go ahead, Jeff. I don't want to stifle you, but I wasn't figuring to go down that hole.
No, I just think that, the Briscoes are what they were what they were. Let me be clear on that. They were what they were.
Yeah.
They not are what they are anymore. Number one of them's not here. All right. Number two, they had earned their, for lack of a better term, their parole from television banning. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions at the time of the relaunch. So that decision to not have a tribute show air on TV, I thought was bullshit. But you know what? Hey, the Honor Club can air it, and Warner can kiss Tony's ass. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said it, not me.
Okay, good.
I would have been way worse about it.
Yeah, so got to be me, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, it is good to hear the girls are progressing positively. That's so good. Oh my God. That
out of all the ones that you mentioned, as far as the words that are coming out on social media, I think the one that resonated the most to me and hit the closest to home was the tweet from Mustafa Ali.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Seeing all the love for the ones we lose is beautiful, but it really got me thinking how tragic it is that they don't get to see it. Someone inspires you, helps you, does whatever for you. Let them know.
Yep.
Start giving out them flowers and love while they're still here.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before on this show, Jay. We mention it all the time, and not just when somebody dies, but when something, when we remember about the past and we talk about, what do you call it? Things like that, just definitely gotta give people the love, again, appreciation while they're here, appreciate who you have while they're here, but also let them know they're appreciated while they're here.
Definitely.
A text, how's it going? I try to text everybody in the close circle at least once a day just to check in. And if I can't, then there's a reason why, and I try to do it when I can.
Yeah, true that.
Anyway, please. I'm sorry.
No. You're okay. I mean, I know a lot of us, like I said, G, myself, you, James, we kind of got our thoughts out on talk wrestling. I really just wanted to touch on the situation because of the word that came out about the girls.
Yeah.
We do have Statboy and Dory Lou in the room who were not a part of talk wrestling, and I don't know if they touched about this on the sports bar at all. So if either of you would like to give your thoughts about the Jay Briscoe situation. Mikey, I know you, much like Jeff and myself, you went to Gorilla, and we never really had the best experience with the Briscoes. There were a lot of times that they were booked to show, and then they no-showed. So we kind of carried around that attitude like, fuck the Briscoes. They don't want to be here. We don't want them here. They can go to hell.
Right.
And come to find out that was during the period of their life where now they're kind of being, reprimanded for after the fact. The reason why Turner Media doesn't want them on their television. And now this tragedy has occurred with Jay. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, I was going to ask if we had seen a Briscoe Brothers match. I honestly couldn't remember. And I think I might have gotten them confused with the Ballard brothers now that I think of it, because Ballard, Briscoe, and all that.
I think they actually did show up once or twice, but I can count on one hand with spare digits the amount of times that they actually showed for matches they were booked for at Gorilla.
Right.
But I do believe that we saw them at least once, maybe twice.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm as negative, but I never really got into their careers.
That's fair.
I don't know much about them. I'm very sorry. My thoughts and prayers go to their family after you gave the medical update. That's a very sad situation. I'm grateful that the children are still alive.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit angry that he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. That is like the number one rule. When you get into a car, the first thing you should always do is put on your seatbelt. It will save your life. So I'm a little bit angry at that, but it is sad, but hopefully, and of course the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, is getting together, and out of tragedy comes triumph. So I wish the family the best, and I hope they get better real quick.
Now, as y'all know, I'm still learning the wrestling world. I used to follow a little bit a long time ago, but since I became roommates with Mikey, I've started learning more and paying more attention, because it is actually something. It turns out that when I've got somebody there that I can ask questions to and educate me a little bit, I'm learning more. So I'm not familiar with the Briscoes, and I apologize for that. But as far as what happened, though, it is a tragedy. And who the seatbelt would have saved or not, we don't know that. Because I do know of people who've been in accidents that actually survived because they were not wearing their seatbelt, but it's few and far between. Right. But with that thought, keeping the family in prayers. They're going to need a lot of prayers. Those girls are going to have a long road to recovery, but I want to keep this in mind. And as regular viewers know, who come in on Tuesday nights for Sports Bar, I regularly do a positive. I try to keep positive vibes out there because there is so much negativity in the world. And I think this kind of plays into this situation a little bit. And it's from Audrey Hepburn. It says, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Nothing is impossible. It may not be probable, but miracles happen every day. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But let's keep that positive thought, those positive thoughts out there.
Absolutely. You messaged me privately about that, and usually I always try to send people home with an uplifting quote as well on open mic night, whether it be a song lyric or a movie thing or just a quote in general. And I usually try to do that at the end because let's be real, there's so much negativity in the world of the internet wrestling community that it's always kind of cathartic to go out with a positive thought. So that's why I went ahead and I welcomed you to do that now while we were on the relevant topic, as opposed to waiting 3 hours and you maybe get tired to go to bed.
Right.
And then also I was going to do a similar thing as I transitioned here because I noticed something the following day coming out of all this news and talk wrestling. And before I get into what I noticed, I wanted to go to these song lyrics from a classic Disney movie. I'm going to quote the 2 verses from The Lion King, Circle of Life.
We appreciate that, the company.
And I'm going to do them backwards here because I feel like it transitions better that way. So verse 2 says, some of us fall by the wayside, and some of us soar to the stars. And some of us sail through our troubles, and some of us have to live with the scars. There's far too much to take in here, more defined than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. And then you go back to the first verse. And this is where we transition here and how it ties into the next part of this topic. From the day we arrive on the planet and blinking step into the sun, there's more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. And the way that transfers into the next topic is that it was that evening, technically the next morning, when I saw the post. But Sean Spears and Cassie Lee welcomed their child late that evening, which they have decided to name Austin J.
Very nice.
All right.
Born on the same day that Briscoe passed.
Ugh.
And I have to wonder if they chose the middle name as tribute to Briscoe, or if that was always the planned middle name. But it just seems a little convenient that he was born late that evening after the tragedy occurred, and that is his middle name.
Wouldn't surprise me a bit if that was done by design at that point.
So first of all, congratulations to Sean and Cassie
Without
on
a
the
doubt.
birth of their baby boy.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Always cool.
But just really made me wonder when I saw that news.
Circle of Life stuff is real, man. Jay departs. Austin comes in.
What are your guys' thoughts, James? Was that done by design? Was it a happy coincidence? Like,
I think it was
your thoughts?
From the looks of it, it might have been a happy coincidence, but very eerie for sure. Yeah, it's a rough one, man. I think it's been a rough for a lot of people. Yeah.
Big G?
I mean, it could have been a coincidence that this happened, or like you said, it could have, the news hit that Jay passed away, and they made like the last minute decision to pretty much pay honor to Jay Briscoe. I don't know if Ty Dillinger or Sean Spears has a connection with Jay Briscoe or the Briscoe brothers.
They do.
They do? Okay, if they do, then I 100% am behind that they did this for him. Big time.
Mikey, what are your thoughts?
Happy
coincidence, or did they do it on purpose?
I wouldn't say it. I would say it's a great term of respect and love when you name a child for somebody that has passed away or somebody in a family. That is a big staple in my faith, Greek Orthodox Christian, and the Greek culture. We're named after archangels. We're named after people in family. Me, myself, I got my grandfather's and my father's middle name to keep the lineage going and all that good stuff. I can also understand, though, how it can be a little bit creepy, scary, I want to say that there are some cultures that do believe in reincarnation. When a person passes away and perhaps they are reborn as a new baby. That could be a possibility, but that Hollywood can handle that situation much better than any religious background, I think. I want to say it's more of a term of respect and love than the negative, scary feeling of.
I don't think it was negative at all. It was just either Austin Jay was the plan, or just it happened to be on Jay's passing. And yes, Hollywood does handle it good and bad. Look at Buck the dog on Married with Children.
Oh my God!
Way off the rails.
New Bundy dog. That poor dog will never have any luck in his life, except he's named Lucky now. So there you go.
Oh. We have gone off the damn tracks.
Hey,
not too much. Dory, what are your thoughts as we put a bow on the Jay Briscoe topic for the evening?
From what I've been hearing, they do have an association with the Briscoes. They do know. I would like to think that they gave Austin the middle name Jay in honor of Jay. It may have been a last minute change with the baby being born later that evening. I'm sure they knew about it before he went into labor, or I wouldn't be surprised. And they decided to give him that name to honor whatever legacy he may have left, or their friendship, or whatever they may have had with him.
Can you just, and again, we'll at least put a bow on it, Jay. The thought process, you're in the hospital ready to welcome a new life into this world, and one of your closest friends is forcibly has to check out. That's got to rent space in like Sean and Cassie's heads.
I'm sure
all of our heads. I mean, really, it's just it's been a crazy, weird week. Like Jay said at the top, Jay, it's been a weird week to say the very least.
Yeah, Sean, I think more so than Cassie, because I don't think Cassie was as close to the Briscoes as the Pinnacle were, because the Pinnacle, minus Max, because I don't know if he knew him as well, but like you got to imagine what the matches that Dax and Cash had with the Briscoes, like how close they got around that time.
Yeah.
And I think even Cash, or it was either Cash or Dax that said it. It was just like, all they talked about when after the match was over was their children.
Yep.
It was very. When I heard that, all I could think of was when Bryce, said the same thing when Brody passed, and they had that tribute show about him, and said the same thing in tears, about Brody. All they would ever talk about was their kids after the show was over.
Wow.
Well, that's what we do as parents, man. We get on this show, and we bitch about wrestling. We talk about how much we love stuff, how much we hate stuff, and then we go off the air where we talk for another hour and a half about our family shit.
Oh, great! So what you're saying? Right. So what you're saying is, I need a kid.
I am going to advocate or deny your right to procreate, James. I'm just going to tell JJ, please move the fuck on.
I'm past my prime on that subject.
We don't need to go down that rabbit hole.
Nope.
No, we don't.
So before we dive into the next topic, let's take a look at what is airing this month on the Casa D18 Studios channel.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is what is going on this month on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I have been neck deep entrenched in a shit ton of musicals, some which have been fun to watch, some of which have bored me to tears, some of which have made me laugh, some of which have made me cry out of boredom. But, it is what it is.
Which just scarred your household for life now as a result of tonight's the one you only watch tonight,
That's right.
It's all good.
Before going on the air, we watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is the last one that needs to be reviewed. So
the original or the remake?
Yes, no, the only one that matters.
There you go. There you go.
With or without audience participation?
Without, because we had someone who had never seen it before. So we didn't want to pull what happened to Jeff, where his first experience was actually in the theaters, getting the audience participation and feeling like the movie had been destroyed for him because he couldn't hear what the hell was going on in the movie, not realizing that what was happening in the theater was part of what's supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, first time view, we usually try to let the person see it without the whole audience participation, just so they can get a grip of the insanity, the midnight insanity, if you will.
Oh, yes.
But
been there, done that.
viewings afterwards definitely will have the participation.
Wait for it.
As we transition, though, into the next topic, I don't remember if it was this week or a couple of weeks ago, but Kurt Angle gave a quote on the Kurt Angle show that I felt was worthy of addressing here this evening. He says, "The business has changed. It's about stunts now. These guys are doing high spots. How long are you going to do that? How many times are you going to do it before you get injured? Doing the chain wrestling and submission trade-offs is a lot safer, and the fans actually like it."
Mm-hmm.
Now, to quote Harvey Dent, I'm of two minds about this topic. because on the one hand,
do you need a quarter?
What originally kind of got me into pro wrestling was the high spots, the Jeff Hardys, the Rey Mysterios, the Billy Kidmans. You know, that's what kind of roped me in, because I was like, holy shit, what are these guys doing? This is crazy. Once I got into wrestling and started doing it for myself and, getting balls deep into the business, if you will, I was more attracted to the likes of the Chris Benoits, the Kurt Angles, the Dean Malenkos, the technical wrestlers, the Bryan Danielsons. And I see a point in what Kurt's saying, but how many people have suffered concussions from multiple German suplexes?
Exactly.
How many people have had broken necks or dislocated shoulders from an arm submission or something, or had cartilage torn in their legs from a Boston Crab or a sharpshooter? Like, there's a certain level, I think, of where what Kurt is saying is accurate, because the short-term risk isn't there like it is for a botched high spot, but I feel like the long-term damage is also there, because you're going to slowly, that's what submission wrestling is you dissect a body part. They say that all the time on commentary. Picks apart and dissects it, breaks it down.
The Andersons, man.
That's not just, willy-nilly wording. Like, you literally are, over the time of your 5, 10, 20, 30-year career, that body part is being broken down.
Yep.
How many surgeries has Rey Mysterio had on his knee?
452.
As of today.
As of today. There might be more in the up and coming future. In fact, they're looking at an approximate 10 more on the docket this year.
So that's where I stand on the topic. And James, I'm going to come to you first on this one. What do you think about what Kurt said in this topic?
I think with Kurt, what he's saying is very wholesome in one respect, because he wants everybody to be safe, which is, typical Kurt. He just wants people to, have a safe time while having a good time, and that's great and all. The problem is, I feel like if you take away the high spots and all this stuff, right? And you, like, if you take away one aspect of the business, you're taking away an aspect of the business that an audience may get into wrestling for. I think there is, we say it every week on this program, and probably just in general on the multiverse of media, different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
People get into wrestling for whatever reason. I legitimately know there are people out there that, and I know these people that literally got into wrestling because there was a freaking damn Terry Reynolds was basically there, skimpy outfit and everything, and then they stayed because of the rest of the presentation. Like, that's just how it is, people like different things, and then they stay for other things. And
that's fair.
I think, Kurt Angle saying, "Oh, high spots are bad because you'll be injuring yourself really, really bad," is rich coming from Kurt Angle, man who multiple times did a freaking moonsault off the fucking cage. Like, Okay. Like we go over that.
Or, better yet, Kurt Angle, the guy who tried to suplex Shane McMahon how many times through the glass panes, the king of the ring.
Yeah, with a broken tailbone, by the way.
Oh yeah. Like early in the match, he breaks the tailbone. Okay, I'm just gonna lift a full-grown man. And, I botched it. Better do it again. I botched it. Better do it again.
Because Shane asked him to. Yeah, it's like.
Hey, let's not rag on one of the top 5 wrestlers of all time, according to Mansfield, who's not here this evening.
Well, to be fair, Kurt is legitimately a top 5.
No, I'm talking about Shane McMahon.
And
while James goes over that, let's welcome Mikey T into the room tonight.
What's good? What's good? Open mic night alumni.
Hello, brother.
Good to see you, brother.
Continue, James.
Sorry, you threw me off by mentioning that Shane McMahon is top 5. In Josh Mansfield's eyes. Sorry, no, I meant Angle. Sorry, back to Angle.
Yes.
Yeah, Angle. I feel like Angle. It's weird that Angle's saying that because I feel like he's mastered every single style that wrestling has ever seen in like the last however many years.
Yeah.
And how long was he in the business, like in total, for like 20?
At least.
You know?
8 or 9 in TNA, right?
Yeah. So it's like the dude mastered strong style, dude mastered lucha libre, the dude mastered
collegiate. I mean, he
won
a gold medal with a broken freaking neck.
Yeah, exactly. He mastered the WWF style. He mastered just about any style that you could think of at that point. Kurt's mastered every single bit of it.
Did you say comedy?
Even comedy. Like, name one person who could do a comedy wrestling match and then go into a serious program soon after that and still be over and completely protected. There is a handful of guys that could pull that off,
Pretty much the entire main event roster of 2001, which is why the Invasion, as bad as it was, should have been a freaking gold mine.
Exactly. But
James, real quickly, let me direct your attention to the comment here.
Hebert, I get what you're saying about people watching the show because they like high spots, but surely they are more effective when they're used by the right guys and not 5 in each match. Okay, I always see this. My argument to that is explain the Cruiserweight division in WCW. Just that brought a lot of people in that have never seen WCW before, and then they stay for the rest of the presentation.
Well, but to Kurt's point, the wrestling business has changed. You figure he was not even in the business when the cruiserweights really became prominent in 96, 97, and in 98 because he didn't sign that contract that Vince threw at his feet after he won the gold medal. Kurt had to come in 98, 99 and, learn at the Funkin' Dojo and learn from the ground up. So, like you, James, I don't disagree with what he's saying, but what Sam is saying, JJ and I got a lot of this after we got home from AEW a week and a half ago, almost 2 weeks ago now. The trio slider match was just a bunch of high spots, and oh wait, the Bucks won the titles back. I mean, and yes, ladder matches are supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be high spots. They're supposed to be, spectacles. They're supposed to be batshit crazy. And Matt and Nick and the Lucha Brothers and everybody else in that match are all batshit crazy. We've grown up watching most of them over the last 15 years, so they are nuts.
But how many super kicks do we need in a match?
Yeah, that's the counterpoint. Yes, matches like that do need the high spots. We just don't need multiple of the same, is what Sam is saying, and I'm sure we can all agree with. The super kick party was really neat for about 3 months. Now it's just like, okay, guys, come on. And again, to that point, being an old school fan, Shawn Michaels' super kick ended the match in 1996. The DDT ended the matches in the 80s and early 90s. It didn't happen anymore. And I think that's a major thing when a super kick, when a DDT, when a stunner at times is a setup or just another signature hold. It's not the finisher. It's not the end of the night.
Or the RKO.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
more of a prominent finisher. I will at least give that, or at least a attempt at a finish, not just a random spot in the match. But on the other side of that, Randy Orton uses a second rope DDT as a setup. It never, ever ends the match, ever, ever. Never has for him, never will for him. So that's a problem. Again, Kurt's not wrong. That vibrating phone keep going off when we're talking.
Sorry about that.
I was gonna try it in chat. I just couldn't make myself happen. And again to Kurt's. Again, this is on a podcast by somebody that's been mostly retired the last 3-4 years. This happens a lot, right? The guys get out of the game, but they're still involved in the game, either making appearances like Kurt's going to be on Raw Monday, just like Kevin Nash, we're talking about later, is going to be there on Monday, I think. Or no, maybe not Kevin, but some of the clique will be there Monday. They look at, oh, well, it's changed and it's not good. It's not this, it's not that. It's not good for you watching from home. It's not good for you not being involved anymore. That's where I think the real crux of the post is okay. Kurt's talking to, I think his co-host is Paulie. I forget which one of Conrad's Minions hosts.
Whatever, yeah.
Paulie, right? He had taken over the show from what I heard on when he co-hosted Jeff.
But Kurt's talking to Paulie about this in 2023, but Kurt Angle not that many years ago was doing basic stunt work as a wrestler. It's like, okay, guys, where do we draw the line between coming up with complete hypocrisy? God damn it!
Leave it for the sports bar, please.
No,
I don't know who that is, but that's hilarious.
That's not Statboy approved. That's
no, that is not.
But by the way, that account was created during the existence of Statboy Sports Bar just to troll him every single Tuesday. I don't know, and I don't care because the account's the greatest thing ever. However, the true Mighty Ducks are awesome. So there you go. Anyway,
you know what? If that account was created just to troll Statboy, then the hell with it.
Oh no!
Statboy's got some haters.
No. My team has haters. I don't have haters.
Well, I don't know.
One of those for the count.
And if I do have haters, they better have a good reason as to why they hate me.
I live with you.
People already have haters.
I'm kidding.
Oh my God, Dory!
The rabbit hole and off the rails. Let's bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring it back. Yep.
We can rag on Mikey later.
Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern 4 Pacific on the Jeff Beecham Network and the Cousin Studios. Anyway, yeah, it's again, Kurt's saying this now, but Kurt, like you said, James, he's adapted the style better than anybody. Overall the styles,
every style. By the way,
including hardcore, quote unquote, garbage wrestling, which is full of spots and shit. So,
for the record, he wanted a match with Omega at one point. I remember him.
Well, that is very good point. G, back me up here. Again, Ricochet, who gets lampooned across the no DQ galaxy, the poor bastard, doing these high spots, yet Braun Strowman's moving like a cruiserweight through the ring.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean,
I like both, but
I like both too. But it's just I was trying to get G to transition to talk more about this, but he didn't pick up on the hint. So
I was gonna throw to you next anyway, Big G. So that was a perfect attempt at a transition.
I wasn't trying
from one Jeff to the other.
So I'm gonna going off. Strowman is a big guy moving like a cruiserweight. A lot of the big men that we've seen wrestle are very agile. As far as what Kurt Angle said, it's a different time, it's a different era. A lot of the wrestling nowadays are high spots. WWE, you don't see it as much as you do in AEW. AEW, they do have great wrestling. Bryan Danielson is an excellent technician. He got trained by Shawn Michaels. He got trained by the very best. The Bucks, I'd never followed the Bucks until they, Ring of Honor, AEW. So I don't know how they were back when they first started. If they were all high spots, okay, they were the same. Okay, you know,
kind of more jobberish.
The Young Bucks have always kind of been like the Wish version of the Hardy Boys.
Gotcha. Okay.
Damn, JJ.
And you know,
I mean,
Hardy,
especially
like,
when they first started out here in Gorilla, like they were even wearing like the old plaid tights, like the Hardys used to wear, like for real.
Yeah. And they were called, to be fair, the Wish version of the Hardys back then were trying to be the freaking Wish version of the Rockers. They were just
the Rockers. Yeah. So, anyways, I mean, you go back to the Attitude Era. In that very first ladder match between the Hardys and Edge and Christian, you know, there were some high spots. There was some wrestling. Now, I like a bit of both. You know, I like the technical wrestling. I like the high spots. Because when I see the high spots, I go like, holy effing shit. You know, I wish I could do that, but I can't. You know, I'm not agile.
So I've always been a fan and attracted to the guys like the late great Eddie Guerrero,
right?
Who could wrestle the style of as a cruiserweight, but also get down and dirty with the technical of Benoit, Malenko, and Jericho.
And I see where Angle's coming from too, and Jeff hit it pretty much very well. You know, Kurt's been out of the business for the past. He wrestled at WrestleMania 34 and 35. You know, and ever since then, he's just been doing meet and greets and stuff like that. He was at Celeb Fest 3, I believe, and I didn't get the chance to meet him, but like, he still looked in great shape. He was sitting down for most of the time. He wasn't standing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's because, you know, he's getting up there. I don't want to say he's getting up there in age, but, you know, the wrestling,
his body is up there in age much more than his
body. There you go. Thank you.
His body is deteriorating.
And you know, I get where he's coming from too. So it's a matter of just everybody's opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And you know, that article was brought to you by the Kurt Angle Show, by the way.
Right.
Had to put that out there. So, other than that, I mean, not much else to say about that. So.
All right, so Conrad got a plug. Aaron's got a plug from Colin. Everybody gets a plug. It's freaking Oprah up in this bitch. Everybody's getting a plug tonight. It's all good.
Hold on, wait. I got a plug real quick. My controller to my computer. Here we go. Up. There we go.
Hey! You are classic, Emmanuel, I have an answer for you. SummerSlam 1998.
Yeah,
The
that's
Rock and
Triple
Triple H.
Hunter.
Yep.
Rock Hunter.
Yep.
As far as a high
and honestly, WrestleMania 10, Sean Razor, with the exception of the flying splash that Sean did, there weren't really a whole bunch of high spots in that match.
You got to do that, though.
No, but unfortunately, the two spots that people remember are the splash and the spot where Sean freaking falls off the ladder and gets himself caught in the rope that ends the match. So
you named it, Jeff.
I get where the mindset's coming from the chat, but yeah, Rock Hunter, which I'm sure was forefront of the mind because it was just about a subject on Young Rock last week.
Oh my God!
By the way, if y'all aren't watching, I can get with that shit. Good Lord, so good.
Wow, that was
except for the casting of the Attitude Era people. Let's just call it.
Hey, you know what though?
Weird.
Our boy Luke Cox is our boy Luke Cox is playing Steve Austin. I got no problem with that whatsoever.
Luke Cox looked good, and he sounded good. The problem is he doesn't look like Austin. Dude, that looked like a Brazzers casting, bro.
What?
Okay, so before we get too far off the rails on this, I will just say that I don't think they're really going for the let's make everybody look like, you know, because Mick Foley sure shouldn't look at Mick Foley or Hunter or anybody else. I think they're just trying to make.
I think they got Hunter's nose right, but that's about it.
That's fucked up, but it's not wrong. Anyway,
like pretty deadly.
Damn.
I can't.
What, man? I'm just keeping it real.
We love you, Mike.
All right. Bring it back in. Bring it back in.
Yeah. You're out of line, but you're not wrong. Continue your thought, Jeff.
The train is off the damn rails.
Jeff has lost it.
With
his Charlie Conway jersey.
Jeff.
My daughter shames you for the Conway jersey.
I shame your daughter for loving Luke Skywalker. Too bad. Anyway. Whoops, that's out there.
We got a Mikey T, or the Mikey T. Stat Boy Mikey that had his hand up.
James, remember who's hosting, producing?
Just sorry,
okay.
JJ.
Okay. Go ahead, Stat Boy.
I was just going to throw out the actress that was playing China. I almost thought it was from NCIS.
Polly Perrette.
Yeah.
Abby.
I thought the same thing. No lie, dude. It's not just you.
Yeah.
She does look very similar because he pulled me in for a few minutes for that one.
Who's the chick online that's been like always cosplaying as China, like who looks scarily accurate to her? I forget her name off the top of my head.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. She's a local model actually. Just kind of starts up to conventions. But anyway,
fair enough.
Stat Boy, what are your thoughts on Kurt Angle's comments?
I can agree with what Kurt Angle said. Of course, going far back, I remember, I believe, the unprofessional story of professional wrestling biography. I believe they had Gene LaBelle on there and a lot of the older wrestlers, and they even said what Kurt said. The kids today go for the spots, whereas the older generations go for the wrestling. A wrestling match starts with a collar and elbow tie-up. That's wrestling. It goes into an arm bar. It goes into an arm lock, a hammer lock, a leg lock, all that stuff. You throw them off the ropes, you knock them into the ground. Now you're going for spots, unless that person is a wrestler like Kurt Angle was or is, and like Chad Gable is now. Chad Gable, a proper wrestler, and when I'm saying wrestler, I mean grappling, Greco-Roman freestyle. I don't really see him doing any spots. The greatest wrestling match that I saw was Daniel versus Claudio, the hour-long headlock match. That was a wrestling match. They were on the mat. Claudio couldn't get out of it, and they rolled around the ring for damn near an hour. Greatest wrestling match ever. No spot. But the fans want that moment. They want that OMG moment, the LOL moment, the oh my God moment. That's what they want. And it's just more and more. And then can you top this? And can your body hold out? Rocky once said, you get punched in the face 500 times, it's going to sting. Your body is going to break down and you can't do it anymore. I would love to see a classic wrestling match again without any spots, if it's possible, where they're just going back and forth, even the dungeon match that they were on the ground, and then you get the spot where he went through the roof and got hit with a dumbbell. I thought that was going to be a great match, but unfortunately, it was a different era back then. So I can agree with what Kurt says. The business has changed. The spots are getting way more dangerous, way more unnecessary. And when a crowd says this is wrestling, there better be a hold in there somewhere and not a spot.
Fair point. Yes, Jeff, you had a rebuttal?
Well, just but before you go to the next person, I want to that comment that just put up there. I find it so crazy that the last pure, if you want to call it TLC match that included those three teams was actually won by two of the best wrestlers in last 25 years, Benoit and Jericho. The long forgotten TLC match, because those four teams had a TLC match and it was TLC all the way through, but in the end it was Benoit, the greatest technical wrestler that I saw live, besides Kurt Angle, and Chris Jericho, who was, become the jack of all trades, that won that match. So again, it really is about eras. It really is about where you came up as a fan, where you came up as a wrestler, and where you are now in life. Somebody mentioned Angle did that. JJ, you replied to Darren. He did that moonsault off the cage at 32. My 32nd birthday, I looked like I looked in the picture with Mickey with my fedora on. I ain't doing no moonsault off no damn cage at that age.
Yeah,
Jesus. No. So it really depends on perspective. Is everything. Perception's reality. So the Undertaker said in his Hall of Fame speech, and it's so true.
Believe in his scene.
Yeah.
And to kind of go off on what you said there to Emmanuel, it's like if it was me, if I had to go out there and do a TLC match after the bar had been set that high,
yeah,
I wouldn't try to do the same or do better than. I'd try to do different.
Different than. That's so
I
all
would
you
try
need
to
in
take it
wrestling.
more back to the Triple H Rock ladder
Yeah.
match and try to figure out how to do something like that with the TLC stipulation with the teams involved instead of just trying to make it about flash and high spots.
Mhm.
That's me personally, though. Mikey T, you're the newest one to join the room, and then Dory will go to you to close this topic out. Just to quickly highlight, because I know you weren't in the room when the quote was originally read, Kurt
Yeah, I was actually
basically
just reading
saying,
it now, JJ.
okay, good.
I was
So you're
actually
up
just
on it. What
reading
do you
it now
think? What do you think
about,
about Kurt's comments?
you know, Kurt's pretty much saying it's all good when it comes to the fact that they're doing a lot of these high diving spots because he's done it in the past as well. You know, that's one of the first thing that comes to my mind when Kurt Angle's talking about high spots.
Oh yeah,
How
that's
many
right.
times Kurt Angle went up to the top of the steel cage and did a moonsault off of the top of the steel cage. You know what I mean? But you know, the one thing I guess I want to talk about is Kurt Angle speaking about Triple H being a good authority figure. Is that a portion of this topic as well?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with his authority figure.
Oh, it's nothing.
Yeah.
He said Triple
No,
H.
yeah.
I thought we were going to cover how Triple H was actually, but
Nope,
yeah.
that's
So,
got nothing to do with it. We're just talking about him feeling that too many people do spots, which is how they get injured.
yeah, I
and
see Kurt's
need to do
bringing
more
up.
wrestling.
I see he's bringing up the fact that if they do more chain wrestling, it'll add to the longevity of their career, which is something that we've seen Daniel Bryan pretty much implement in the later years of his career. You know what I mean? Now he's kind of just doing everything in AEW. But you know, Kurt Angle really should have used his own advice. You know what I mean? Kurt Angle kind of, you know, ruined a lot of the key moments of his career when he basically wouldn't, you know, get himself in line and had to leave the WWE. He had to go to TNA for 8 years. I mean, I've read multiple interviews with Kurt Angle where he says he actually enjoyed his time at TNA more than the WWE. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like crazy to me because Kurt Angle has so many major moments in the WWE. I mean, for crying out loud, we remember matches from No Way Out more than we remember matches from WrestleMania with Kurt Angle. You know what I mean? He had a couple matches with like Stone Cold before Mania. He had the Undertaker match and shit like that. You know, Kurt Angle, where was I going with that shit? You know, Kurt Angle
has more memorable moments in the WWE than he does in
he has.
TNA.
So, like, I looked it up on YouTube. Like, I was like trying to find it. I'm like, give me a funny moment from Kurt Angle in TNA. I'm like, top
boy.
5 Kurt Angle funny moments in TNA. I couldn't find one.
I could give you a top 15 actually.
We'd
be here all day.
I couldn't find no funny moments from Kurt Angle in TNA, like the moment when The Undertaker knocked on his locker room and Kurt Angle came out with a American flag bandana on his head. I'm sorry. Stuff like that was just cracking me up back in the day.
The best, I think, Mikey T, was Kurt Angle singing Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care.
Man,
I got Olympic gold. I got Olympic gold.
Yeah. That stuff with him in Austin was great. You know what I mean? It almost made up for the power trip, the 2-man power trip ending quickly back in the day. But let's be real. I mean, Kurt Angle's body couldn't hold up, so the career that he came back and had really was lackluster. We were tricked at first, you know, because he had the match with Ronda Rousey. It was like, okay, we would have rather it had been The Rock. I mean, realistically, I think we all remember because we saw the promo with The Rock and Ronda from a few years before. And then he came back with the Shield. So it was like, oh, this shit could be good. Kurt Angle's actually going to, you know what I mean? He wasn't supposed to come back that night, but it was like a little taste. You know what I mean? But then when he ultimately came back, he did not wrestle any of these guys that he is speaking about on his podcast. He's not wrestling any of these guys that are actually all this acrobatics and all the stuff that you're talking about Eddie Guerrero doing so perfectly that Kurt Angle could just about do. You know what I mean? He could just about do it, but not with all the cruiserweight, you know what I mean, aspects so much, because he was a bit bigger, you know what I mean? He would have never really fit in that division, I don't think.
It's fair assessment, fair assessment.
No, ultimately, crappy Corbin instead.
So he ends up fighting Baron Corbin. You know what I mean? So that whole top 5 debate of Kurt Angle, I mean, yeah, he's definitely a top 10 wrestler. I mean, if they did the best thing they could do, I would have to say for WrestleMania, I mean, for Raw 30, would have Kurt Angle come out there and then Ken Shamrock's music hit, and they just have a little face-off in the ring. Just nostalgia, just because we all know that Kurt took Ken Shamrock's move and kind of, you know what I mean?
That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. When they did the Kurt Angle thing late last year, I want to say it was his birthday, and he came out there, and the Alpha Academy came out there to interrupt him, and then they did the whole thing where he had the Street Profits come out to challenge them. It's like, that was a missed opportunity, in my opinion. They should have had Haas and Benjamin one night only.
Right.
Benjamin's already in the company, wasn't doing shit. Hurt Business was broken up. Charlie Haas, I'm sure they could have tapped him for a one-night appearance. World's greatest tag team, Team Angle together again to take out the Alpha Academy. That would have been so perfect.
That would have been some good shit.
Dory, let's go to you to put a bow on this, and then if anybody else has a final thought, so we can move on to topics.
So I know we're talking about all the stuff with wrestling and it's that with any sport. With any sport, you're going to get hurt. The longer you play, the more likely you are to get injured.
That's fair.
Now, I was swimming, diving, and water polo in high school, and I have an injury from doing that I will be dealing with for the rest of my life. It's not too bad, but it's something that I have to deal with. But Mikey and I do, or Statboy and I do a lot of football stuff as well, and some of the injuries that have come around just this season. Some of these guys may never be able to play again. But it's a matter of they have to no matter the sport, you've got to have those practices in. You've got to keep your body limber. You got to take care of yourself. Mm-hmm. And the better you take care of yourself, the longer you to progress. But there's always going to be that unknown factor that somebody is going to end up getting seriously hurt at some point, and it could derail your career. You may be able to recover from it. I'm thinking some of Edge's injuries, that he's been able to come back multiple times, but at some point he's not going to be able to come back.
Yeah,
something's going to happen, and it's a risk any athlete's going to take, no matter what the sport is. Just they got to take care of themselves to try and prolong that from happening.
That's fair.
That kid in the Bills had a hit. He was the one making the hit, random hit, and he stood up and down he went like a tree.
Yep.
And it was just a routine tackle. I mean,
a routine tackle on Monday Night Football and sends the whole damn sports world into a friggin' tit. Shit happens.
It all comes down to the fact that no matter how scripted pro wrestling is, it will always be a full contact sport. There's no way to prepare properly. Like, you can prepare as much as you want. Injuries are going to happen.
Exactly.
To defend Kurt Angle on a couple of points that Mikey T made, number one.
Here we go, James.
Yes, I know, right? Number one, I think in the case of Kurt wasn't they tricked us and he wasn't ready. In fairness to Kurt, when he came back to the WWE, he wanted to wrestle. Vince went and completely vetoed it. His very last independent appearance was WCPW. He fought Alberto El Patron for whatever the fuck that's worth now. But he fought him, and he was still wrestling at a high level, and it was actually a pretty damn good match. Even a year prior to that, he was wrestling Zack Sabre Jr. in what was a fucking technical classic in progress. And this is like right after he was pretty much done with his time in TNA. So he was still wrestling at a high level. And I think Angle even said that had Angle started wrestling from the rip the night after WrestleMania on Raw, he wouldn't have had any ring rust. And he would have been able to, and he wouldn't have had the injuries catch up to him as fast as they did. But because he was inactive for so long, he was just not the same performer by the time they had him come back when he had the Shield debut happen. So that's it is what it is there, and he even said so himself. In the case of Angle not being funny in TNA, bro, the one moment that you have to go watch if you haven't seen this episode, and I encourage everybody to do the same, is the episode where Kurt Angle gets all of his belts stolen. This is right around the time he won every title in TNA, and he gets all of his belts stolen, his Armani suits, and his underwear. And Jeremy Borash is like following him around like a freaking sidekick the entire time. And Kurt Angle is butt naked, beating up people to get his Armani suits, his title, and his underwear back. One of them is Shark Boy. One of them's Shark Boy, who has a smile on his face naturally on his mask. And Kurt, straight face, looks at him and he says, "The hell you smiling at?" And starts beating his ass.
See, that might just have been a little too serious to be funny, though.
No, dude.
That shit's gold.
No, bro. You have to see this segment, man.
So
it's not
funny. So funny.
He acts serious, but trust me, it is gold mine funny. It's comedy gold. Kurt in TNA, I feel, gave so much of what he learned in WWE, brought it to TNA, and learned what TNA was doing and learned what the independents were doing in turn to make him the best all-time performer, and why I think he's an all-time top 5 performer in the industry, period. Nobody could do what Kurt Angle did, and he did it like that. His memory was like a sponge, dude.
Yeah, Kurt went to TNA, James, because he didn't want to deal with WWE telling him he had a problem. And yes, he had the problem and he ultimately addressed it. But man, originally his intent was just to run away from the problem. And while he was on that run, man, he had a hell of a friggin' run in TNA and really tried to help that company get, and again, people argue, when TNA really hit the skids prior to or during Hogan, whatever, that's a whole other show's topic on itself. But, Kurt really tried to steer that ship right because he knew that Dixie and the people were trying to invest in him. And yes, he was a WWE guy, but they were trying anyway. So
yeah. All right, so that was pretty good. Really quickly, Gabrielle, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
We hope that you'll tune in for our Raw is 30 coverage on Monday on your birthday and join the festivities there.
Yes, please do that.
Before we get into the next topic, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we're going to take a look at what is going on over on the J. Hebert side of things.
It's out of my hands.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Button Masters Stable Wars entire playlist. AEW Grand Slam Rampage and Dynamite Watch Party. Shared Experiences by Mistress Audio and J. Hebert Side 95. Survivor Series 10-year retrospective. The J. Hebert Side of Things, Episode 3. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Let's Play series. Watch-alongs for Halloween Havoc 97 and Fully Loaded 2000. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, and Retro Wrestling Review series. The entirety of the NASCAR Thunder 2004 Let's Play series. All of AEW's watch parties the last 4 weeks. Wrestle Kingdom 17 coverage in conjunction with the Jeff Meacham Network. A Simple Take. Both episodes available now. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting. Breaking news. ATW View Impromptu. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Royal Rumble Match Marathon with retros of events following Marathon. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
There you go.
So there you go, everybody. That is what is going on over on the J. Hebert side of things.
I appreciate Sam Fisher wants to check out my content. That he wants it in the description. There you go.
Good.
Sam, we will go back and do that once the show goes off the air, and we will do that absolutely. We appreciate your interest, and we also appreciate that you're loving the show so far.
There you go, man.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you much.
So, to coincide with Jeff's latest wardrobe change, you know, the true reason why he wants me to send him the run sheet every week so that he can have his wardrobe prepared.
It makes sense, JJ.
We're now going to discuss something that Big Daddy Cool, Big Sexy, the Super Shredder himself, said over on one of his podcasts.
Super Shredder.
Where he said, quote, "If I don't go to WCW, there is no Attitude Era."
Ooh.
Okay, now I hear a lot of oohs in the room.
I'm clicking this.
I'm like, there's so many things that you can pinpoint as the beginning of the Attitude Era, the beginning of the Monday Night Wars, etc. But I think that Big Sexy has had a few too many chair shots to his big brain. Because if memory serves me correctly, his good buddy Scott Hall went a couple weeks prior to his arrival in WCW. So that was the true jump start of at least that part of the movement.
On screen,
You can definitely say that the birth of the NWO was a beginning of the Attitude Era. But for me, I think it always comes down to King of the Ring 96 and the birth of the Austin 316 promo. I mean, it's just one of those things, and they happened around the same time, same month, same year.
Damn near same week.
But at the end of the day, I personally feel that the true Attitude Era began not in WCW, not in the WWF, but in a bingo hall in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, both companies stole ideas, storylines, and talent from the little engine that was Extreme Championship Wrestling.
So much so that it pretty much was a contributing factor to why they went down.
But I just feel like Kev here, a little bit too much of the revisionist Kool-Aid, if you will. and while he swigs his water bottle there, I'm gonna throw to the honorary member of the NWO. And I mean, if Virgil can be a member, if Horace Hogan can be a member, then why can't Jeff
Jarrett
motherfucking meet
be a member?
Hey, you know what, Mikey T? Jeff Jarrett was not only a horseman, but he was the leader of the New World Order. You put some respect on that man's name.
Oh, you're right. You're right about that, JJ. He was the leader of the New World Order. But I was just going to say, if Jeff Jarrett could be a horseman, Jeff Meacham could be an NWO. Damn it.
Oh, my God.
Take it away, Meacham.
Yeah, it's okay. So I was going to go last, but since you're producing, I'll go ahead and throw myself under the bus first. Look, it's like with Kurt, retro
Is he really?
Sorry, Brendan. I really think you're right as far as ECW really forcing the two major companies in North America to. Damn, Darren, you're not wrong neither. Honest to God, the two people in the NWO side of things that if they can be, anybody can be. Like if Coco Beware can be a Hall of Famer, anybody can be. If
Paul Roma could be a horseman.
Flair and Disco can be members of the Wolfpack, anybody can be a goddamn Wolfpack member. If Virgil can be NWO, anybody can be NWO. Rodman at least had the mainstream appeal. The last time Virgil appealed to anybody in the mainstream, he was, wiping the shit off DiBiase's boots. Anyway.
Oh.
Because Mike Jones needs that dick money. Yeah, good job, Virgil. You suck, Mike.
He needs that dick money. Whoa.
What he said. That's exactly what it was, a quote from Virgil. It's somewhere out there. Somebody find that shit. It's a real thing.
Oh, Jesus.
It was either dick money or fuck money. One of the two words. One of those things.
Fuck money. I think it's fuck money now that you bring that up. I think that's what it
Good night, everybody.
All right, at least Jeff knows what he's talking about.
Anyway, I do believe that JJ is right as far as ECW really forcing the two companies to adapt, or they were, and Bischoff's always fond of talking about, ECW was never going to be anything more than a distant third to the other two, which he's not wrong about in terms of overall, when you lump everything together, money, licensing, audiences, everything, ECW was always going to be that distant niche third to the other two companies. God damn it, you comment bastards. Anyway, I am the blue meanie. Just need some blue Kool-Aid or something to go with it. Anyway, I think that while that is true, Jay, I still say that Scott signing with WCW in the first place is really what motivated Kevin to leave, because Vince would not match money. Both of them said they would have never left if WWE had just matched the guarantee that WCW was offering. But yeah, I mean, the 316 promo from Austin and Nash throwing Bischoff off of that stage were literally 7 days apart. So they both really just kind of at the same time. The problem is Nash's first appearance on Nitro, which, it's the name of a podcast now. It has been for a few years. Nash's first appearance was June 10th of 96. That was week 1 of 83. So I think that's where Kevin gets it in his head, because Nitro, I don't believe Nitro beat Raw on the 27th. I could be wrong because I don't have the list in front of me, but I do know that Nitro did not beat Raw on June 3rd.
You want me to get on that real quick?
Go for it.
Go for it, stat boy.
Yeah, I know June 3rd, Raw won the night because that was the last time until April 13th, 1998. So in any event, Kevin's claim numbers-wise is not off. It just sounds very braggadocious because it's, it's because of me. The NWO, and by the way, this is actually an NWO Nitro shirt. You can find these if you really look hard enough. They are out there.
Oh, geez.
Got it.
Go for it.
Okay, what? Give me the date.
May 27th and June 3rd of 96.
May 20, June of 96. May what?
May 27th, Memorial Day.
It was a 2.3 versus a 2.8.
For who?
In favor of Nitro.
Okay, what about June 3rd?
June 3rd was Nitro 3, Raw 2.3.
Okay. So
sounds about right.
So week 1 was the debut of Scott Hall.
Yeah. So yeah. Right. So no. Oh,
wait. What year did you say?
I'm sorry. June 10th was the last time they didn't win. Give me June 10th.
June 10th, 1996.
Yes, sir.
2.7 against 2.6 in favor of Raw.
Okay, that's what. Okay, I'm sorry. So Nash's debut was actually they lost the night.
There you go.
So Kevin's claim is complete. I just got on my own shit. So yeah, you figure Nash debuts. So it's definitely a hot topic because the ratings were close. But thank you for and that's two of those now. There's definitely intrigue into what's going to happen, and you notice when Nash comes in is when Bischoff challenges him to go to Baltimore to talk about the 3-on-3 match that was going to be coming at the following show, pay-per-view, not that Sunday's pay-per-view, just talk about it. So, but you notice Nash throws Bischoff off the stage. The next night on Nitro, off they go for 83 weeks. So there's credibility to his statement, but it wasn't just him. I'll never forget, the big reveal of the Greater Power 2 years after this. And Vince talking about, he built, Linda telling Vince that, you didn't do this by yourself. It wasn't just Kevin Nash. It wasn't just Scott Hall. It wasn't just Hollywood Hogan. It wasn't just Steve Austin. It wasn't just Vince McMahon. It wasn't just The Rock. It wasn't just, it was everybody on both sides because they were literally fighting for their survival each and every time that red light went on that camera. As far as the spearheading, it goes back to what JJ said. ECW forced their hand. And I was going to bring this up during the Kurt Angle segment, so thank you for reminding me again, Jay. ECW was the grunge 90s Nirvana version of what wrestling has always been, the 3-ring circus. If you don't like the Lion Tamer over here, you'll like the 12 deep clown car, or you'll like the elephant, trying to balance on a balloon. There's something in that circus that will appeal to somebody watching that. The WWF and WCW at that point had become a Saturday morning cartoon show on both sides, on both channels. ECW, they've got, brothers wrestling with, taped fists with glue, and they're, but they've got wrestling. They've got incredible wrestling with, Chris Watt, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, Shane Douglas, Too Cold Scorpio. They've got women posing like they should have been posing in 1995. I mean, my God.
They've got Mysterio, Psychosis,
but then once Eddie and those guys leave, you've got Mysterio, Psychosis, Conan, Hoovy coming in to bring in the lucha style to this country. And it was really that 95 and 96 ECW. Paul has said this so many times, and I've heard it said by other wrestlers in the company. If ECW gets that pay-per-view when they were supposed to get it, whole different ballgame. Because by the time ECW got their pay-per-view reinstated after the Mass Trans incident, April 97, they were still very heavy talent, but they weren't peak talent. And by the time they got TV 2 years later, you forget, Taz and Dudley's are both already signed with WWE. They're already leaving the company by the time they actually come in. So
yeah, the Dudleys leave the night that their first show airs.
Yeah, highlights of their departure and losing the titles to Tommy and Raven are on TNA the first night. So that's just like, and like I said, 10 after the officially left after November to Remember, but he signed in whatever it was, September. So, ECW definitely was the catalyst for the Attitude Era. But again, where it really took off, it could be argued either the NWO or Austin 316. It really is a fair neck and neck argument. That point that was brought up in the comment, that was the point that WWE really started to turn that corner. And I say that because even Bischoff himself has said when they saw that when WWE saw that WWE had signed Tyson, and Bischoff went, "Oh shit! Now we're playing for real." And 2 weeks after the week after WrestleMania, or 2 weeks after WrestleMania 98 is when Austin McMahon was advertised. Didn't happen, but that was the end of the streak.
Yep. And they were starting to. It was a back and forth battle all throughout '98 too. Like it was crazy.
Funny though, James, when you think about it, the last time WCW won was because of quite possibly their biggest pay-per-view blunder in history, because of the early out for Halloween Havoc, and they played the Goldberg match. Otherwise, they wouldn't even won that night.
Yep. True that.
Yep. Anyway, I made a point of telling everybody what time it is by telling me how the watch was made, so I'll pass the ball.
Anybody else? I feel like there was a lot already said on this topic between what me and Jeff said. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to add to the topic? Go ahead, Mikey T.
All right. So Kevin Nash could have said anything besides this, like him creating the Attitude Era, the guy who just prior to the Attitude Era had one of the most oddball WWE title reigns. Like, come on, man. Diesel really, like, I could buy it if Kevin Nash was like, you know what, I'm the guy who made the NWO cool. I could buy that he made Hulk Hogan cool, because Scott Hall going there wasn't going to get it done by himself. No. But did Diesel make the Attitude Era happen? No. We didn't even really know who the hell Diesel was when he was in the WWF back then. Diesel was a big guy who we thought used to own a diesel truck and started wrestling in the WWF. He owned a diesel truck. He was Shawn Michaels' bodyguard. And then he became the Intercontinental Champion, because, you know what I mean? Anyways, that's another story. So he became the Intercontinental Champion, Jeff.
Oh no, I thought Diesel used to be a dentist.
No, that was Isaac Yanko.
No,
that was
Wait a minute. Glenn Jacobs wasn't Diesel first? You're kidding.
Okay, so
and to further Mikey's point, prior to his run as Diesel, he was the great and powerful Oz and Vinny Vegas. Like,
welcome to Oz. Yeah,
no, I'll give it to him. When they put some personality on him as Kevin Nash, he really was cool and all that. You know what I mean? But in my opinion, if we're going to talk about where the Attitude Era began, it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. It was Bret Hart, when Bret Hart grabbed Vince McMahon by the collar and started yanking him and saying, "Look what you did! Look what you did!" And everybody ran with it when it was Stone Cold, the everyday person, versus Vince. But it was really Bret Hart who went out to ringside and almost wrung his boss's neck. You know what I mean? That's what. And then all of the people were like, "Whoa, what the hell is what is Bret Hart doing that to an announcer for? There's something we don't totally get that's going on right now." I'm a little kid when this is happening anyways. You know what I mean? So
right.
That is really, I think all the fans started going at Vince McMahon at that point. He became a character, and we all started hating the boss. And this is when the Attitude Era really began, in my opinion. Diesel, I don't even think he was really around during. I thought it was Diesel, like Jeff was saying, when Glenn Jacobs came down to the Royal Rumble and he was fighting Bret Hart and Bret was throwing him out of the Rumble. I thought that was you, Big Kev. But it
the flying clothesline didn't give it away.
Kane hadn't debuted yet to do that flying clothesline.
I'm just saying,
Mikey, look at the private chat. I already said I see you. I will come to you in a minute.
We acknowledge you, Stat Boy. Just chill the fuck out.
He gave up a big opportunity leaving the WWF at that point. He would have honestly, remember what happened after that? A fatal four-way match. Diesel would have been involved in that type of match if he had stuck around the company. But, he arguably went and did bigger, better things in WCW. But this is a different era we're talking about. This is the era where apparently, for some reason, the guys that we love to see wrestle didn't even really want to go out there and wrestle that much. They would rather just go there, get paid, not even wrestle or something. I don't know what. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Nowadays, wrestlers love to go out there and perform. But back then, they were just like, I'm just going to chill back here. If I don't got to wrestle tonight, we'll just do a quick DQ. We'll do a 2-minute run-in. All this type of bogus-ass wrestling matches we were forced to watch back in the day and shit. But I've digressed.
No,
those are some fair points, Mikey T.
Mikey, go ahead.
Yes, Stat Boy, you had your hand up multiple times, very anxious to jump in.
If you're going to roast me.
No, I'm not going to roast you.
If he's going to try to roast you, Mikey T, give me like 5 minutes to go make some popcorn, because Stat Boy trying to roast anybody is like worthy of popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
Stat Boy, go for it.
Make popcorn.
If that's a compliment, brother, I'll take it.
January
21st, 1996, Royal Rumble, Bret Hart versus Undertaker. Out comes Diesel, flips him off.
Yep.
That is my guess as to what Kevin Nash is talking about. That was probably, in my opinion, the first major sign of attitude.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there, Mikey. I'm gonna do what Jeff talks about. I'm not doing and interrupting. The quote itself literally reads, "If I don't go to WCW, there is no Attitude Era." He didn't say if I don't come out and flip off the Undertaker in the middle of the WWF Royal Rumble.
And I was also.
If I don't go to WCW.
Well, that was his last.
Which is why Jeff was asking about the ratings when he debuted.
May I jump in and make a point also?
No. Let's Stat Boy.
Raise your hand. Don't talk. God damn it, people!
Let's Stat Boy go on back to what he was saying, but I just had to stop him right there because clearly he misheard or didn't hear the quote.
Well,
James, I acknowledge you. I'll come to you when Stat Boy's over.
I guess then I was because I guess Mikey T was saying Attitude Era, and that's why I got that one spot. So yeah, I guess I'm wrong in that one. So I'll yeah, I know I said I'm wrong. So I'll just bow out, and then I will maybe then disagree with Kevin Nash's quote saying that if he didn't leave, then the Attitude Era. I think the Attitude Era would have gone on regardless of not then. So I'll just leave it at that.
That's definitely a possibility. I do feel that WCW forced WWF's hand to get edgy and show more attitude. But as I said at the beginning of this topic, I feel like WCW got it from ECW in the first place.
Or at least
James, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, there's a couple things. If we're really going to be honest about the whole thing, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall being brought in under the creative regime that they were under prior, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall by themselves wouldn't have done shit if the creative was still the same in the Dungeon of Doom times. And boy, was it a doom period for the business. So there's that as well. Okay, let's just put that out there. We also gotta remember that the idea for the NWO came from Bischoff seeing it work in Japan with their idea of what the NWO was, the early inception of the NWO, which ironically would join the NWO later the very men who did the takeover in Japan, which I believe involved Masahiro Chono and a bunch of others. That, in and of itself, was what spawned the NWO concept. So I think that, if anything, spawned the change in the Attitude Era. I'm hearing feedback, but that alone is what spawned the change, not necessarily Nash and Hall joining. Because, Nash. Isn't that Nash and Hall? I almost said that. I was trying to say Nash and Razor. Had that not happened, had that concept never entered Bischoff's head, we'd be talking about a whole different plane. But it was Bischoff's idea, to be fair, and taking what was already working in Japan and applying it to WCW. Nash didn't have anything to do with that, and quite frankly, neither did Hall. But they just were cool enough to make it work. And by that point, they were changing direction and creative. So if we're gonna get technical about it, let's actually get the technical part of it right. You know what I mean, Nash? I mean, come on now. That's the first thing. Second thing, how many trolls does this make for Conrad Thompson? I love the guy, but Jesus Christ, dude! Like, did you call this one too? Like, just to get, I mean, the whole idea of the podcast is click this. Well, click the controller. We're clicking it. We're talking about it. So, mission accomplished. So there you go. Oh, what is going on with the feedback? Anybody feedback? Hello?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know. That's weird. Is it me?
Mikey T, you're muted, honey.
Yeah, you are muted for some reason.
I was just wondering. I thought it was coming from Statboy, but I see he's muted too. I thought he might have left his thing on, but anyways.
Let me. You know what? It might have been me because my head a little glitched here. I'll be right back.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't hear it now that Jeff excused himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dory.
So, I wasn't watching wrestling at that point. I was leaving Seattle, moving back to California, reestablishing and being a single mom and doing all that stuff I did. But I want to look, Sam Fisher made a comment about in the 80s and 90s, the wrestlers reacted to the crowd. Nowadays, the crowd reacts to the wrestlers. And I looked it up on Wikipedia because I had to get a little bit of knowledge in here. The Attitude Era was actually, per Wikipedia, started late in 97. Per Wiki,
per Wiki, yeah, that's the thing.
Per Wikipedia, they're saying the Attitude Era started in 97, and I'm sorry to say I missed most of that because of what I was dealing with personally at that.
Right. There's a lot of different. Just to try and help you out here, there's a lot of different moments where people pinpoint the birth of the Attitude Era.
Okay.
Like I said, one of it was the formation of the NWO. One of it is Austin 316.
Yep.
One of it is the WrestleMania 13 match with the double turn of Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin, which essentially began Austin's rise. Some people say the screw job in Montreal was a big part, which is probably the late 97 that they're referencing. And some people even go back to Survivor Series 96, Bret and Austin.
Okay.
There's a lot of different moments, and that's always going to be one thing that's in heavy debate as to when the Attitude Era officially began.
If you go by...
What's that,
you
Dory?
have all these things that led up to this official.
Yes.
Okay. But can I ask on this question? Do we react to the wrestlers, or does the wrestlers reacting to the crowd response?
Well, generally,
I think it's a combination of both.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we as fans are reacting, especially if we're the ones live and in attendance. We're reacting to what's going on in the ring, whether it's the match or the promo, the story being told, whatever. The really good wrestlers know how to react to us in return. If we're completely shitting on a match or a move or something, a good wrestler will turn it around on us.
So when I'm hearing those wonderful chants about this is boring,
Yeah.
if they're good wrestlers, they're going to respond to that and turn it around and make it interesting again. Okay.
Absolutely. I overheard somebody, I don't know who it was that said it, but I overheard somebody say Rock Hogan. Go back, watch
Jeff.
the WrestleMania 18 match between Hogan and Rock.
Okay.
Rocky went in there as a baby face. Hogan went in there as a heel. By mid-match, they flip-flopped because the crowd was so happy that Hulk Hogan was back in a WWF reign at WrestleMania.
Got it.
Like, they literally sent Hogan home the night before to grab the red and yellow, but then decided to use him as NWO like he had originally been brought in as. So
Got
he
it.
went that in. But you listen to that match, go back. And John Cena says, if you listen to that crowd, or if you listen to that match with no volume, you just watch the wrestling, it's one of the worst pieces of shit you'll ever look at in your life. But if you turn the crowd up and you listen to the crowd response and the way Rocky and Hogan feed off of that, that's what makes the match.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that education.
Not a problem.
Like I said, I'm so to our viewers, I'm still learning. I still have a lot to learn. So thank you for your patience with me.
Hey, everybody starts somewhere, number one. And the man you live with, the man right here in between me and Jeff above you is one of the men that helped educate me back in the day. So he may not be good for a lot of things. This is one area where he actually is good for.
Choices in hockey
He's
teams.
good for a few things.
Not good.
Good for a few things.
Oh.
So yeah, it just to what Dory was talking about as far as the birth of attitude, there literally is a I guess a documentary is the right word for it on the network and the Peacock about 1997, the dawn of attitude. I mean and JJ, you mentioned Montreal with Brett, or even the match with Brett and Austin 96. A lot of people talk about I think it was either the night after the Fatal 4-Way match, maybe the week before, where Brett shoved Vince on his ass and chewed him out, cussed him out in the middle of the ring.
Nice.
It was like, why? Whoa, hey. And Vince, went back to ringside and called him a son of a bitch, and it was just like, geez, like everybody's cussing. And this is early pre-Raw is War Raw, 1997. Yeah. So everybody was what the shit. So yeah.
Another thing. Sorry, go ahead, Mikey.
Oh, sorry, JJ. Was it the steel cage match with was it Sid and Brett in a steel cage match?
Yes.
Austin, because Sid had beat Brett the week before for the title. I think that so it was the week after the Fatal 4-Way. Thank you, Mikey. Yeah, it was
and that's what Brett was flipping out about. He's like, why are you letting all this bullshit happen?
Yeah. Frustrated with the goddamn word for it.
That's how he said it back in the day.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was going to say, again, everybody, please, if you're going to interject, no problem with it. But like Roman said, if y'all going to act like kids, I'm going to treat you like kids. Raise your goddamn hands.
Okay.
I'm not talking about you this time. Mikey, Mikey T. Okay, Mikey, you're an out step boy on this show. For good. Everybody call him Step Boy because my brain can't do that shit.
That's what it says right there, Jeff.
I know. I'm just old and can't read. And yes, we see the hand, so now we acknowledge it. We will get to you. Actually, go JJ, can take over because I can't talk.
Thank you, Sam.
The other thing that I was going to say before Mikey T stepped all over me was that another moment that people pinpoint is the birth of D-Generation X promo, where they're backstage and Sean's going off.
Right.
D-Generation X, is that what we are? Is this D-Generation X? Like that's another moment that a lot of people really pinpoint because
yes,
DX essentially was their version of the NWO for that time.
Right. There's that promo for them, and then also I think it was the week before, was the night after Bad Blood where they showed the curtain call of the footage. and
Might have been.
I don't remember.
Might have been.
It was sometime during October, because that was when they weren't called DX yet, but it was him and Hunter and China in the ring, and maybe even Rude.
I'll get on that.
And they were talking about you know what? Yeah, because they were trying to throw to the footage from either Ground Zero or Bad Blood, and instead they throw the curtain call and just throw it in Vince's face, and it was like, whoa, that's the curtain going pulled way forward. So again,
I don't remember
1998 when JR says the Austin era has begun is the official WWE. This is when the Attitude Era begins, but the entirety of 97, the gritty feel of both shows, and Easy will say now, because the Attitude Era, it's called the Nitro Era to me, because without Nitro, there would have been no WWE Attitude, and he's not wrong. But at the same time, without ECW, not necessarily kicking them in the pants, because they weren't going to do anything to them in the overall scheme of things, but without ECW being the little freaking ankle biters there at the bottom of their shoes, they're not getting that nudging the butt to do something different than freaking Johnny B. Bad shooting, confetti, and Duke the Dumpster Drosy fighting a freaking clown on Saturday morning. They weren't going to change. They weren't.
Right. It was the kick in the butt that they kind of needed to.
Yeah.
Got it.
But back to the point of the initial topic, I think we all can agree that Kevin Nash going to WCW was not the beginning of the Attitude Era.
No.
If anything, it would have been Scott Hall a couple weeks prior.
Yes.
Because that is the pebble that began rolling down the mountain that began the formation of the NWO, which turned into the Avalanche.
Yes.
Yes, Mikey. Yes, Stat.
It was the day after my birthday, October 6th, 1997.
Okay. Okay. I was trying to throw the Bad Blood footage, and all of a sudden the curtain call showed up.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And again, it's just one of those things that, yes, Kevin didn't start the Attitude Era by going to WCW, but
he was nobody a cog in the wheel.
What happened?
I said, but he was a cog in the wheel.
Yeah, nobody can argue with the fact that the NWO and that storyline was really the. Here's the thing. To quote my shirt, which is available, I forget which platform it's on, but anyway. So, United States history. That's my major.
James, I see you. We'll come to you after Jeff.
Yeah. There's unrest between the North and South. Some people want slaves, some people don't. There's taxes all over the place. Some people like Lincoln, some people don't. It wasn't until shots were fired at Fort Sumter that we were actually at war. There's people nipping back and forth. There's ratings victories back and forth. There's, Nitro wins, Raw wins, people jump, people stay, whatever. It wasn't until, I think Nash's mindset is it wasn't until they really hit that first major salvo, which was the two outsiders attacking the head of WCW on a global pay-per-view. People went, oh, shit. If Bischoff isn't safe, nobody's safe. I think that's where Kevin's brain goes there. I'm just, extrapolating.
It's fair. That's fair. Go ahead, James, and then we'll wrap up this topic.
So, I don't remember the exact date of this, but I believe, just to clear any confusion, if we're talking about the official start of the Attitude Era, and then we'll wrap it up in a nice little bow. Vince McMahon announced it, I believe, in late December 97. So if you go by announcements that Vince made, that would have been the time the Attitude Era started.
The whole good guys versus bad guys promo.
Yeah, it was simply passe. Yeah, that whole thing.
Right,
yeah.
right. And, people will say all the time that Brian Pillman's passing and his approach to the business really right after that. So, again, there's so many arguments that could be made. What can be said about the topic that JJ wanted to introduce, which I appreciate, brother, is Kevin didn't start it. He just majorly influenced it.
Cataclysm.
Yeah. Okay, so we're not finishing this topic. Go ahead, Mikey.
December 15th, 1997.
Thank you. Yep, that would be it.
Cool shit. Week after the DX pay-per-view.
Go ahead, Mikey.
When did they play that footage of the curtain call in 97?
2 months prior.
Bad Blood pay-per-view.
Yeah.
That was in 97?
October 97, yes, sir.
So why did they play that when Nash was in WCW?
Because they were trying to show they were edgier. So rather than Sean getting what he called for, which was the Hell in the Cell footage, it mysteriously appeared on camera that Sean and Hunter had been friends longer than DX had been on screen as a pair. And basically, they both turned to Vince and go, "Is that still sticking in your craw, Vin, man? You still don't like the fact that we've been together, we're buddies. You sent our buddies, whatever. Just Sean being 90."
Yep. It gave a little backstory for them as to why they were destroying The Undertaker so many times.
Yeah, it's basically why Shawn Michaels, who had been a not white meat, freaking pale ghost meat baby face the previous year, is like, why are you being a dick again, Shawn? What the shit? And it's like, well, because you sent my buddies away, asshole. And that's
nice point.
It's really what it comes down to on as far as the DX promo with the curtain call.
There we go. All right. So before we get to the main event topic for this week, which is nowhere near as dramatic as most of our main events, let's take a look and world premiere what is coming next month on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Welcome back, everybody. So that is a taste of what is coming up next month on Renegades Reviews.
Good stuff.
Mikey T has bowed out for the evening, as has Big G. Unfortunately, it's getting a little bit late for both of them.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough.
So we thank them for their participation. As most of you have noticed, Noah is not here this evening. Unfortunately, he's been a little bit under the weather, I found out in our group chat. So he was really KO'd this evening. Hopefully, he will be good to go for Monday's watch along. Otherwise, we may have to amend and just do the West Coast broadcast. We'll figure that out post-show, though. But getting to the main event of the evening, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun with this, considering the fact that 1 week from tonight is the Royal Rumble.
Yes.
It is my favorite event of the year.
Yes.
My favorite match of the year. The match that I have always thought was the most unscripted and unpredictable until I got balls deep into the business and I learned quite the opposite. Which, killed my little buzz like learning there was no tooth fairy.
Hey,
I've seen him before, but it kind of is what it is. Seeing isn't believing, believing is seeing, right, Bernard?
That's right.
So again, I thought I'd have a little bit of fun with this because the Royal Rumble is always about moments. It's about debuts, as is with the phenomenal one back in 2016. It's about returns. It's about surprise entrants. It's about non-eliminations. You think about the numerous times that Kofi Kingston and Naomi have both escaped elimination and found creative and unique ways to get back into the ring. So I thought we'd go around the room and then we'll get into Emmanuel's super chat, which is Rumble related.
Yes.
So we will tie into that way. That's why I made sure to let him know there that we haven't forgotten about him. But the first thing that I wanted to get to with this topic is a series of posts that I've seen lately from the Masterpiece, who's been teasing a potential Royal Rumble return. He's even gone on the record as saying on Insight, I don't ever feel like I'm coming back to WWE full-time. For me, it would be great to just come back to the Rumble to sort of make amends with certain people in the company, but to also show the WWE Universe that I've the polished performer that I've become.
Absolutely.
He then further goes on to say on Insight that I'm kind of like a ghost from Bobby Lashley's past at this point. I feel like, in the right scenario, you have Lashley dominating with the Hurt Lock, and then you hear that OG Chris Masters theme.
Nice.
What are our thoughts about the potential of a Masterpiece Chris Masters return? And then who else would you potentially like to see as a surprise entrant in the men's Royal Rumble? Let me specify that one more time. In the men's Royal Rumble, because we will go to the women separately in a moment. Dory Lou, we're going to put you in the hot seat first and foremost. I'm sure you don't know a whole lot about the Masterpiece Chris Masters.
No.
As he's not really on your TV screens on a regular basis these days. But
I don't know. I really don't know. Again, because I do lack the knowledge and all that and the experiences here. So I'm going to have to pass on that because I don't have an answer for you.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, who else would you like to see then as a surprise entrant in the men's Rumble?
Wait, me? Is that me?
No, it's still Dory.
Still on me.
Dory Lou on the spot in a row of only two.
Look at your action figure, Dory.
What was that, Mikey?
Look at your action figure.
Oh, yes. I would love to see Edge back. I would love to see Edge. He is one of my favorites.
What?
I know is Dolph making the appearance in the
Dolph is Dolph is still a regular.
I'm sure
and I believe it'll be his 16th Rumble appearance which is only second to Kane. Kane holds the record at 18 appearances.
I guess you.
And
I
the
guess
fact
you could,
that Dolph Ziggler would be in his 16th, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think I was reading that this will be the 16th if Miz is the because Miz is going to be there also, right?
More than likely.
So it's going to be the 16th that they have wrestled against each other in a Rumble. I did read that.
Crazy.
And I know he's pretty much there as just a body. But I do enjoy watching Dolph and Miz. But I would love to see Edge. If he is able to come back, I would love to see Edge there because he's one of my favorites.
That's a fair take. I do remember reading a rumor, for what it's worth, supposedly, allegedly, that WrestleMania this year is probably going to be his last match with the company. So you figure there's got to be that Ultimate Judgment Day blow off.
Right.
So I feel like Edge returning in the Rumble when Priest or Balor or even Dominic are in the ring and just starting that ball rolling.
Oh, yes. That would be sweet.
Would be a perfect moment, if you will.
That would be sweet.
James, we'll go to you next. First, what do you think about the Chris Masters statement? And then, would you like to see him as a surprise entrant in the Rumble? And who else would you like to see in the men's Royal Rumble?
I would like to see the Masterpiece come back and show what he has improved on because, one of the people that I remember Punk mentioned during, I think it was like a contract signing or whatever the hell. One of the people that got better was Chris Masters, and then he got released, and that was sad, and we don't like that. So yeah, I would like to see him come back and just kind of show the polished performer that he's become. I've seen his work on what was GFW Impact for whatever the heck that was worth during that time, but he was really good there. So that was fun. I remember him and Eli Drake had some actually like really funny segments with Cornette. So yeah, I'd like to see him back. I'd like to see Edge come back as well. By the way, ironically, when she said when she mentioned Edge, Edge started trending on Twitter for what I have no reason or earthly idea, but he is trending, so there is that. As far as people I would like to see, well, I have a funny one. Is like when it comes to Dolph, I'm surprised that WWE remembers that they even still have him on the payroll because that's how much they forget about him. Poor guy. As far as surprise entrance, I don't know. Like we know The Rock hopefully is one. Although considering the fact he made a song with Tech Nine that literally has Rumble in the chorus, I mean, I would imagine he's coming back. You would think.
Between all his movies?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have many going on right now because he's dealing with the XFL.
If the wiki page and what is on the horizon for Rock is to be believed, he is not currently filming anything because he wants to be available for the XFL season, which is going to start in mid-February. So he probably won't report to an actual set outside of like pre-production stuff until the XFL season is over.
Okay.
Especially since it's the inaugural season of his company. He's going to want to be there as much hands-on as possible for that.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, not really sure. Because like I'm thinking like of people that could make a surprise appearance, but it's like I feel like the only person I could think of for some reason is Hurricane, because he made many surprise appearances. What's up with that? Hurricane I would like for the memes, for the lulz. Maybe a one-off appearance just for the hell of it from Lance Storm. I don't know.
Would be interesting.
Maybe Matt Cardona. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Cardona, I would actually really be shocked by to be fully honest. Booker T, I could also see as like an actual, like, because Booker T is still in ridiculous shape for his age. Like, the dude doesn't age in ring or outside of it. So, like, I would love to see him back, actually. The only thing that, is ever questionable about Booker T's game is behind a microphone on the podcast or commentary. But
Chucky, quack, quack, dog.
I like Booker T. It's all in love. But yeah, those are the people that come to mind, really, for me anyway.
Jeff, you seemed like there were a couple things you wanted to say. Go ahead and you can take the floor next. Then we'll go to Stat Boy, and then I'll bring this topic home.
So as far as Rock goes, a source in the Great White North has told me that there's nothing on his production docket period until well after April, or what that's worth. Take that with a grain of salt. As far as Masters, I love Chris Adonis. I always have. I thought that, yes, he got his job in WWE because he was chemically enhanced. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. But even when we went off the gas, dude's still in ridiculous shape. My God. And he's been doing great stuff recently with the NWA. Take that for what it's worth. The NWA is what it is, but they are sold out for that pay-per-view we're going to be covering. So there you go. As far as surprise in the Rumble, I think it's very clear based on what we talked about earlier and who we were mentioning NWO wise. We need to see two people because they both need that kind of money. Virgil, Val Venus, because they both need fuck money. Damn it! So we need to Rumble and the Godfather. You know why I would see the Godfather? Just so when I'm on the commentary, we can bitch about how he kayfabed us again and again and again. Damn you, Charles White, you kayfabe and mucker brother, you.
Oh God, that's good.
I don't care if it is 10 years ago, 11 years ago, or 12, almost 12 now. Jesus Christ, God, we're getting old, Jay. Anyway, I would love to see Edge, and I'll talk more about Edge and the other Copeland in the company during the women's discussion, because I think that all that shit just writes itself. It really does.
Agreed. We touched on the fact of Edge coming out while Balor or Priest or Dominic's in the ring. Beth coming out while Rhea's in there just makes perfect sense. But again, we'll get more in depth in the Women's Rumble after we're done with this conversation.
Yes, sir.
Stat Boy, to you, same three things. What do you think about Masters' statement? Would you like to see Masters in the Rumble? And what other men would you like to see as surprises in the Men's Rumble?
I have no problem with Chris Masters. He's a great guy. The potential of the Hurt Lock versus the Master Lock, that would be one of those moments, I think, where all action might stop for like a few seconds. Maybe like Lashley will be the one that says, okay, put it on me. Let's see if you can do it. And then somehow he'll reverse it and then he'll get that moment. So yeah, I'm totally fine with that. If it's a one-off thing, a one-time appearance, that's okay. I don't see Masters coming back full-time, really. There are tons of names out there, really. I mean, I was a little bit upset that Cody's name got thrown out as, hey, I'm coming back at the Rumble. We all knew Cody when we saw the injury to the pec. We all started doing the math and the numbers. Okay, he'll be ready by Rumble because there are smart wrestling fans out there. So I would have liked to have the surprise, you get that little bitty pause and then you hear there's only one wrestling family, and then you hear Kingdom. So, but yeah, I'm almost afraid to do the guest commentary on the men's match because I'm afraid I'm going to mark out too much and you guys are going to not like what I do during that match. So
all we got to do is hit the mute button if you start getting too overzealous. But I mean,
Like I said, Rock coming out, that's been rumored for
just like that.
Hey, what?
Just wanted to show you how easy it was.
Rock coming out, that's been rumored for months, almost if not a year, to come back. So, that there's that. Of course, every year since it's like, oh, is CM Punk gonna come in? Yeah, right. I mean, come on, you gotta. I don't know how many moments you can have in a Rumble to where it's, oh my God, So yeah, but if it happens, it happens. Since they're in Texas, like they said in the comments, Stone Cold would be nice. Booker T would be nice. But if Stone Cold came into the Rumble, I'd be afraid what would happen if he went over the top rope, because I don't want to see Stone Cold get hurt. So there's that.
Dude wrestled a Falls Count Anywhere against KO at WrestleMania. They were doing bumps on the entrance ramp. I think Steve Austin can go over the top rope. I'm just saying.
And let's just throw out the hometown Knoxville County mayor. Let's throw in Mayor Jacobs. Have him come down in his suit. He rips off his suit. He puts on his mask and he jumps into the ring. Let's just throw that out there too.
No,
I don't want a Bob Backlund thing from freaking whatever it was, Royal Rumble 2000.
Hey, we just reviewed that Rumble. It's up. It's up apparently right now because I fucked up the time of where it was supposed to come out.
Damn it.
Yeah, I want Glenn Jacobs there, but since the Alamo Dome, I want Glenn Jacobs as Diesel. I want this to be a thing.
And then have Kevin Nash come out.
That's right. Kevin Nash
with the gloves.
WWE, are you listening?
They are. We know this.
Oh, we know.
Real Diesel versus fake Diesel. Well,
hey, if we had Undertaker versus Underfaker and Kane versus Kane, we can have Diesel versus Diesel.
Hey, not even Diesel. Have him walk out with the big Oz head on, just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, true.
And for Kevin Sullivan out there for no particular reason, just to walk out there with Oz, just because he can.
So, as far as Masters' thing goes, I kind of like echo pretty much everyone's sentiment except for Dory's because she has no frame of reference.
Sorry, guys.
But
you're okay.
I think Chris is a cool enough dude. Met him a few times. I'm down to see him come back and kind of have that moment in the sun with Lashley. Like Darren G pointed out, Lashley was the first to break the master lock, so
officially, yes.
It could definitely bring a nice little going back to the circle of life from earlier. But as far as people that I'd like to see as surprises in the men's rumble, going off of the Texas theme, but staying away from the Austins, the Bookers, kind of in the vein of Booker, what if we got Stevie Ray?
Ooh.
Who's never actually competed in WWE, but is Booker's brother.
Yeah.
What if we heard, ooh, Chavo?
Oh, Chavito.
I thought of him, actually. That was a person.
El Paso. Just throwing that out there, not too far.
No.
I mean, granted, last I heard he lived in Orange County, California, but
yeah, he does. Yeah.
The Galeros have their roots in El Paso, Texas.
They do, yes.
So there's always that, if we're going for the long shot, the dark horse, I still would pop hard if Judas started blaring over that freaking PA system.
Right. Jesus.
Like, we thought that Mickie James coming out at last year's Rumble was out of the realm of possibility, especially after she got her stuff mailed to her in a garbage bag.
And there she was.
So, you see the countdown, and then it buzzes, and then you get that pyro explosion for Walls of Jericho, but it goes straight into Judas instead. And people just lose their shit. Then you've got an entire arena, the Alamo Dome, a stadium, singing Judas.
Because they know it. They know it, man. Go on. That's awesome. I like it.
Think about that for a minute. Like, improbable, Yeah, probably likely, but not impossible. As we've learned multiple times over the last 365 days, anything is possible in the WWE.
Anything is possible in wrestling, period.
So, that's always possibility. I think the reason Stat Boy, I guess we can just go back to saying Mikey now that Mikey T's gone.
Yeah,
I think the reason that they announced Cody is because of like how you said when you began giving your diatribe about why you were pissed off about it. Everyone had done the math.
Yeah.
Everyone pretty much knew Cody was more than likely going to come back at the Rumble. So why try to save it as a surprise? It's not really a surprise if everyone's betting on it.
Yeah.
You may as well announce it and then save the surprise for somebody else. Emmanuel brings up for the haha Gilbert. Could you imagine if Gilbert comes out and then the next entry is actually Goldberg?
Oh Christ!
Gilbert's getting speared out of his damn boots again.
Okay, I know how much Jeff loves Billy Boy, but could you imagine the Goldberg confrontation? For real.
As much as
in the Alamo Dome, as soon as Gilbert gets eliminated, he can go down to the basement, try to look for Pee-wee's bike.
I was going to say Goldberg is going to set a new record of how far you can throw somebody over the top rope. Because let's face it, Gilbert is a stick.
Gilbert will be freaking crowd surfing a la Spike Dudley at the ECW arena.
There you go.
Yeah, all over the Alamo Dome.
And then I said this to Jeff on one of the shows that we did. And even though I know that it officially can't happen because of what they've announced for the world title match at the Rumble, I still want to see it happen, damn it. I had told Jeff, number 1 needs to be Elias. Number 2 needs to be Kevin Owens, which we know can't happen because he's challenging Roman Reigns. But then later on in the match, after Elias gets eliminated, have him go backstage, shave, and come back out as Ezekiel.
God damn it.
And totally have that 3 Faces of Foley moment from the 98 Rumble.
Dude, we're gonna have a freaking 60-man Rumble because of all the doppelgangers by this point. Jesus.
but for real, if Kevin Owens wasn't in the world title match, tell me that would not have been perfect.
A doppelganger in every corner.
Elias is 1, KO is 2. Much like the 98 Rumble, have KO eliminate Elias. Elias go in the back, shave, come back out, 20-something, 21, 22, something like that. KO is still in the ring. Ezekiel comes out. How can they be the same person? They're both in the Rumble match.
Yeah, can you imagine if Kevin lasts all the way to 20, whatever, and he comes out? Kevin would throw himself over the top rope out of insanity, like, God, no! It's like, no, I can't.
He'd pull a Top Gun tall wear. He'd pull a Top Gun tall wear. God damn it!
Right.
So for those of us in the top row that get that,
yes,
it's great.
Yeah.
But
before you move on to the women's one,
hold on. Stat Boy did patiently raise his hand. Let him go ahead.
Put the title match on first. Kevin loses the title match. Get up and put him in the Rumble.
That's a fair point. Can definitely be done.
They've done it before.
I mean, Brock Lesnar lost the title to Bobby Lashley and then won the Rumble. So,
just how
saying.
Fast can you shave?
That's why you got to be number 1. Go in the back, get eliminated first, maybe even before number 3 comes out. Just have KO open up on him, eliminate him, go in the back, get the clippers, take it to the beard all the way, then take the razor, hit it up, probably have an assistant on one side and him doing the other side, and then have Ezekiel get injured upon elimination so he can take a month off, grow the beard back off, come back as Elias.
Damn it.
I'm just saying, dude. You guys think it's ridiculous, but tell me Hunter doesn't have that sense of humor. I will wait.
I don't think it's ridiculous. They're gonna book it now.
It's genius, and you'll get paid for it.
I wish.
No, he won't.
Well, could probably sue them for it because it's on air that we came up with this idea.
That's fair. You mentioned Mickey James. I forgot to mention Nick Aldis. I would love to see Nick.
That's definitely
That's
a possibility. I mean, I have mentioned before, Mickey is on her last rodeo. An elimination from the Rumble would not count technically as a loss because she's not losing the belt and it's not an Impact Wrestling.
Right.
Who's to say that she can't appear again this year, once again as the Knockouts World Champion with the same lower third, and have her husband Nick Aldis in the Men's Rumble this time?
That would be really cool. And again, people will feel how they feel about the thing with Nick and the NWA or whatever. But if there's one thing that Nick Aldis has not done before he can put the bow in his career is being a WWE ring and a WWE match. My God, that'd be
and as we transition to the women, we talked about Matt Cardona. Chelsea Green has supposedly signed with WWE. What better way to debut her than in the Rumble match for the women?
She would get a major pop coming back. My concern with Chelsea is she's done this dance a couple times now. Like, does she want to come back with that in the back of her mind that her WWE runs are snake bit so bad? Like, yes, WWE money is always good. Having that WWE exposure is always good. But she's literally been injury prone every time they've tried to do jack shit with her. So I don't know it. I mean, if she signed, great. I never begrudge anybody having the job. And I love Chelsea. I love Matt. But I worry about Chelsea getting in her own head about injury and, being injury snake. So hopefully I'm wrong. And hopefully she does get through, and hopefully she gets more than just a Rumble match experience before she gets, hurt again.
The floor is yours, Jeff. Who else would you like to see in the women's?
Mickey again. Mickey and Nick are both on there. Beth, just for the moment with Rhea, so we get here's my worry about them booking Beth to go with Rhea. I still say Rhea should win the damn Rumble. I've been saying that all year. So you can't go too far down the rabbit hole with Beth and Rhea and Edge and whoever from Judgment Day, because the end game has always seemed to be Dominic versus Ray at WrestleMania. Like that. I mean, it's Southern California, so it should.
What happened?
We lost Jeff.
Give him a second. He may have been getting an alarm or somebody trying to call and it jacked up his signal for a minute.
I don't know what the hell happened. Anyway.
Good timing.
Right. So yeah, it's in SoCal, so I don't see them not pulling that Mysterio trigger, but you can still have the Copelands interact with Judgment Day at some point just to kind of maybe start to blow off. Maybe they go at Chamber or something. So yeah, Beth, Mickey, Chelsea would be great. Naomi, for the love of God, get her back under contract and back in nice and get her on the TV, please, pretty please. Yeah, and again, AJ Lee is not only happily retired, she's very happily an executive for Women of Wrestling out here, and she's very unhappily beat up enough where she's not going to get back in the ring full time. It's not going. It's even in the one-off. The Rumble is such a dangerous one-off for somebody that's got all the injuries that people have piled up like AJ Lee. So I and again, you mentioned that JJ CM Punk for the men's. No, anything can happen. Nothing is never say never. Vince will never retire. Vince will never come back. Austin will never wrestle again. Edge will never wrestle again. Saraya will never wrestle again. Bryan Danielson will never wrestle again. I can keep going. We'll be here for another 4 hours. Punk coming back is not impossible. Highly improbable, but not impossible.
Highly unlikely in all likelihood, right, Rift?
That's right. If he's watching, which I talked to them before we went on the air, and they were already in bed, going to go to sleep. So doubtful. Again, Mickey would be great, except I don't know if she'd want to pause the last rodeo for a guaranteed loss, because she's not going to win the Royal Rumble. They're not going to.
Never know. She had a lot better showing last year than people thought that she would.
And I agree with that statement. I just don't see even if she's in the Rumble, I don't see WWE booking, whether she loses it between now and April 1st or not, the reigning Impact World Champion into a WWE Women's Championship match at WrestleMania, unless they were going to buy the company. And with this sale bullshit going around, again, very unlikely. Not even highly, very almost like 99.9% unlikely. Would it be cool? Hell yes. Were we talking about during the Rumble where she appeared recently? Absolutely. I just don't see it being a thing. But it
Personally, I would like to see Mickey go after Bianca if the situation arose. You got the girl from Tennessee against hardcore country.
Yep, exactly.
I feel like that just writes itself.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. I also personally, it's not a surprise entrant necessarily. I really want them to do one of two things in the next, whatever it is, 70 something days or whatever many till WrestleMania. Either get behind Asuka and give her another decent push, or just cut her loose, let her go back to Japan.
What about the possibility, and I'll go through more of my picks when I get my turn, but you bring up Asuka. What about a potential reuniting of the Kabuki Warriors since Kairi Sane has the championship for, what is it, Stardom?
New Japan.
New Japan.
Yeah, she's actually she's actually the label IWGP champion now, which finally New Japan. Thank you. Again, bring her up on there. Why not?
I mean, for just a one-off, why the hell not? You have that moment.
Yeah. It's again,
especially if you're going to dust Mickey off again, then you got the Knockouts champion and the IWGP Women's Champion in the same Royal Rumble competing for a shot against the WWE Women's Champion.
Yeah, and if we're talking about moments, you're talking like that. People have still slept on Camille, and I disagree with that at this point. She's over a year in as champion. Granted, NWA has not been as prolific as WWE. Let me not, even try to bullshit anybody, but that's the thing, Jay. Rumble, both matches, men's and women's now. There's so much quality, credible talent out there. Even if they come in for a period of one entry, two, maybe even a few entries into the match, I'd say sky's the limit, but Sasha Banks isn't going to be there. So, it just, anything's possible, but I just, my core three, I want to see Mickey just because Kairi, now you say her, I'd love to see her get involved just to have a kind of a face off with Asuka and Chelsea, if they're going to do something with her more than just be at the Rumble.
Fair point. Stat Boy will go to you next. Who would you like to see as a surprise in the Women's Rumble?
I'm going to need some help with the names.
Okay.
The current NXT Women's Champion.
Roxanne Perez.
Yep.
The two that won the Battle Royal.
Oh, JC and Gigi.
Toxic Attraction.
Okay. The blonde who did the handstand in the Sol Rhea.
Yeah, Sol Ruka, Sol Rhea, something like that.
Sol Ruka, there you
go. The Alba Fire.
Fire, yeah, absolutely.
And if they were ready, and this is the long shot, the Rock's daughter, Ava Raine.
Yeah.
If she was ready. If she's, I know she's still training, right?
Yeah.
And is Shaul Guerrero training as well? Or is she?
No.
Shaul Guerrero is getting ready for her next appearance on the Jericho Cruise as part of the Vaudettes dance troupe.
She's also been retired for a while because of a career-threatening injury, I think, in the ring. So,
yep.
Although, again, the fact that it's Texas and the Guerrero legacy in Texas, it would be cool if she could make a one-off appearance, but like Rift says, highly unlikely in all likelihood.
Yeah, and the Vaudettes act is getting her paid across the country and around the world. So.
And then the last one would be the one that Dexter married.
Indy?
Yeah, Indy Hartwell.
Well, again,
see, the thing with half the people that you named is they're NXT stars. So the chances of them showing up wouldn't really be a big surprise per se.
Other than-
Like, I mean, I can see why you would feel they would be a surprise, but I look at surprise entries as being those people that are either making those, the Hall of Famers coming back for the one-off like Christian did, or people that are making like a surprise return, like if they hadn't announced Cody Rhodes.
Right.
But I don't think of
But how
somebody
about
that's
Brandy?
actually within NXT as a surprise entrant. Brandy would be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you've got the whole Texas Rhodes thing, even though she's a Rhodes by marriage. But still, I mean, if Cody's going to come back, then why can't Brandy make a one-off?
Yeah, and I for people, I was talking about earlier in the day with somebody because I told them I was going to bring this topic up. They asked about Dustin. I said, if Dustin's mama hadn't just died, and if Cody wasn't already announced, and Dustin wanted to take the thunder away from him, I would have said Dustin would have been there. But again, number one's under contract at AEW, and that's again the biggest reason it's unlikely. But number two, he doesn't want to take the thunder away from his brother. And number three, most important for Dustin, his mama just died. He's really having a tough time with it right now. So
that's fair. According to Safet, though, WWE is making calls to AEW for the Rumble. So Dustin, if that is accurate, and I don't know what his source is, so we'll just take it as a grain of salt. No disrespect intended.
No, of course not.
But if that is accurate, then Dustin, daddy ass, definitely wouldn't be out of the question.
No, it really comes down to how this synergy will remain with the companies, because up until toward the very end of the year last year, Tony seemed very amicable with talking with Hunter. I mean, recently Hunter was kind of digging on him after the fact, but again, we've said it for the second half of last year and all of this year so far. There will never be a never say never again, because there'll never be a never anything, because we lost and gained Vince McMahon in the same year as far as being in control of the company. So at least control of the company's fate. I'll be clear on my verbiage there. And nothing is impossible. Most are improbable, and that's really what the Rumble comes down to. And JJ, I know that's why it's your favorite match. It's why it's Greg Cherry's favorite match. It's why it's one of my favorite things of the year, because you just sit there and you get antsy when that 10-second countdown hits. Everybody mentioned this down in the chat room. Michelle McCool, again, JJ and I will forever dislike the Lay Cool Act. My God. But Texas, Undertaker's not going to, I don't believe. I mean, again, Michelle's much more likely. Ivory and Jackie, I don't think Ivory wants to be getting tossed around a whole bunch no more. And then the Rumble, she's not going to win, so she's going to get her ass tossed around. Jacqueline's tough as nails, hasn't always will be. It wouldn't surprise me if she at least went for a one-off. But, Jackie's also crazy. She's tough and crazy, so good on her if she wants to.
No.
Damn it.
Dory Lou, will go to you next.
I'm there with Mickie James. I'd love to see her one more time. It'd be one more time. And I was just looking. Naomi has not actually been released by the WWE. You're muted, Jeff.
No, I understand that, but it's just they're at this loggerheads with the talks right now. So I was saying, get her back under a proper contract, make with the nice, and then get her ass in the Rumble.
Yeah, so I mean, I'd love to see that happen, because I miss Naomi. I miss Naomi, so I would really like to see them make that happen. And how about Trish Stratus?
Trish is always a possibility. She was there for the first Women's Rumble in 2018. I think that's the only one she's been in thus far.
I think so.
But, I mean, it's definitely a possibility,
So yeah, and then I've got to go back there too with Kyrie. seeing her go one-on-one with Asuka, that would be sweet. Because I really did enjoy watching them when they were a team.
Okay. Good take. James, we'll go to you now before we throw it back to me to bring this topic home once again.
For me, I gotta say, the people I would personally like to see in a Rumble capacity, I think I mentioned Kyrie. Kyrie is definitely one I would love to see as far as outside companies, and along with that, Mickey James as well, because just both of them in the Rumble would mean big things, I think, for the future of wrestling, especially this year. I like bigger picture thinking anyway, so that's why I'd love that. Trish, I feel like Trish is definitely a fair shout. NXT call up or NXT surprises. If that's even so much of a freaking thing anymore. Who's the girl who did that really cool cutter from the ropes a week ago? I'd like to see her do a couple cool spots.
That was Salt Rook also.
Yeah.
That move was scary but cool.
Right. That was really cool. Good. I loved it.
That was awesome. Definitely would like to get her in there. And yeah, I don't know if there's anybody else I'd like itching to see other than them, but I mean, again, they're probably going to surprise us somehow with somebody. Although, Mighty Molly needs to come back because I like Mighty Molly.
As Molly the first year, and then she came as Mighty Molly. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. I mean, Daniel brings an interesting comment up, and I doubt this would happen, but Britt Baker or Jade Cargill would be amazing. Like, could you imagine if we just randomly hear, the doctor will see you now?
Right.
Or a storm is coming.
If we hear a storm is coming, we're going to need a towel and a cigarette for JJ during this fucking watch along. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to be
for real.
I was about to say, because imagine.
Don't hate, congratulate. But yeah, absolutely.
Clean up zone 2. I mean, Jesus.
I mean, for me, when it comes to the surprises, like I said, I think of the legends.
Yep.
Darren G brought up Victoria. She did come out in 2021.
Yep.
But it was the COVID Rumble, so she didn't get the crowd response.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of cool for her to get to see that and get that pop and that feeling again. That's the one that I was watching today, and it's just weird going back and watching that 2021 Rumble and hearing the crowd murmur and the countdown, but you can see on the video screens that nobody is freaking counting down. It's like, hey.
No.
It's like the laugh track on an old sitcom. It's like, come on.
The pop she did get was for you running across the damn Walmart store when you found out she was coming out to the crowd.
Legit, because like me and my buddy at the time, Jamel, he had the Rumble on his phone in the OGP pickup room.
Yep.
And like while we're waiting for people to come and pick up orders, like I'm standing there watching it with him, and I hear, "I ain't the lady to mess with," and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like I legit had a moment there.
Yep.
Like it would have been better if they could have got the rights to all the things she said for the night, especially since she was playing off the psychotic angle anyways.
Right.
As opposed to the whole whatever it was that she was doing when she was using the "I ain't the lady to mess with," but it wasn't the Psycho Victoria. Another one I'd like to see, and I didn't think anyone would think of this, but I saw 2 people in the chat bring her up. They're saying that Brock is going to be back on Monday night to start his push to Mania.
Oh, no.
What about his wife? I would actually pop to see Sable come out. Like, can you imagine the arena response if you hear that cat growl and that whip crack? Like, I think that would be a hell of a reaction. Like, you would almost blow the roof off of the Alamo Dome. Like, I think that would be a hell of a response. But I don't know if Sable and the WWE have mended fences after the whole lawsuit that Sable had.
Well, no,
like,
I'm sorry, I interrupt you. I know we're interrupting, but they did, remember, because she came back after that with the whole mistress thing.
I thought that there was another lawsuit after that, though. So
that was Brock's lawsuit with the whole trying to get out of the contract to go to Japan.
Got it.
So yeah, this is Lesnar. Yeah, technically it's kind of by association, but yeah, I've been hearing about Rena going to the Hall of Fame. That'd be a hell of a way to start the path.
I mean, I would mark out for it. Another one, like, you talk about how much we hated the Lay Cool era. You're misspeaking there. I always hated Michelle McCool. I never hated Layla, and she has not had an appearance in a Women's Rumble yet. I would love to see Layla come out, especially if Michelle is in there. Like, have Michelle be in there and then have Layla come out, and you've got the reuniting of Lay Cool.
Yeah, because that blow off they had was bullshit. Because Michelle lost and retired, Layla was gone like right after. So I agree with
that. Would be cool. Darren G, Stacy Keibler. We've had Tori Wilson in there a couple times. I'd love to see Stacy in there too.
I would too. Yes.
Like, these are all people that I have been thinking about. Just a second, Dory. These are all people that I have been seriously thinking about as I've been rewatching these Rumbles. It's like, okay, these surprises are great, and I still cry when Lita comes out in the 2018 Rumble because that was my girl. But where are some of these other bitches that paved the way for the women of today? Like, why are they not in these Rumbles? Are they just not being reached out to? Are they being talked to and just saying no? Or is there something deeper to it? And now that Vince isn't booking, could that be a factor? Could we possibly see some of these? If she wasn't in such deep shit, I would love to see Sunny. Yeah. I know that's not going to happen, not anytime soon.
No.
But, you sit there and you watch the 2018 Rumble with Stephanie on commentary, and you hear her say China on the microphone, and it's like, damn, if Joni was here.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. Every year I think about that, Jay. Every year I think about it.
Another one Emmanuel brings up that I was thinking about, Alundra Blaze.
She'll be at Raw.
Wendy Richter. They put her in the Hall of Fame.
No, they did. I just don't think Wendy would want to, because Wendy can't wear wrestling tights like Wendy Richter no more.
Hey. I'm just saying, it's a one-off. And yes, thank you, Sam, for putting it there. If she wasn't running the Impact Women's Division, Gail motherfucking Kim.
I mean, hey, you never know. Well, again, never say never. She could make an appearance.
I'd love to see Kia come out there, calm.
Yeah.
Just for one more night. Like, she entered the Men's Rumble.
Yeah, she did.
But she never got to get in the Women's Rumble. Could you imagine Khan coming up against Tamina?
Right.
Ooh, good matchup.
Ooh. There's a lot of good potential here, brother. That's the thing. And somebody in the chat was saying they need more surprise entrants. Yeah. And you notice we're salivating more over the possibilities of women that we haven't seen in a while come in than just the men's surprises, because the men, I think the men's Rumble, Jay, personally, it's like, if Cody doesn't win, where are we going for Mania? Like, who, where. The women's, there's a lot of different, intriguing choices that we are actually interested in.
Well, based off of and we're not going to get deep into it because I still haven't seen SmackDown, but based off of what you proposed that we talk about tonight on the show, there's always the possibility that Sammy could end up winning the Rumble.
That's true. That's true.
So if Cody doesn't win, where do we go? There you go.
Yeah, and
so there's the other option. And again, for the people in the chat, I haven't seen SmackDown. We're not going to go in depth as to what happened, what's going to happen on Raw. Please don't ask about it. But like, there's your other option right there. It has to be one of those two, I think.
As far as the men's side, but I guess my point I made, kind of half-assed, was the women's side offers us so many more possibilities. Yeah, Manuel.
I wouldn't mind seeing Colin and Nia, though. Just that face.
Right. Yeah, it's give Nia a brief moment. Don't let her get too deep with anybody. Don't let her hurt nobody.
Yeah. So
again,
that is who I would like to see in the Women's Rumble. I think we all named off some great people.
Yes.
Looking
forward to it.
Getting to Emmanuel's super chat, it's actually tied into the other Rumble topic I was going to bring up. So Emmanuel super chatted $5. Again, thank you, Emmanuel. We apologize for making you wait this long to get to your super chat, but I didn't want to cover a Rumble topic early in the show when our main event was going to be Rumble Conversation.
Right.
Normally, I wouldn't make you wait this long for a super chat, but it just seemed a little bit redundant to me to cover Rumble at the top of the show when you super chatted and then come back to the Rumble here.
Yes.
But top 5 superstars to have never won a Rumble that should have won it.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to have everybody do a top 5 because you've got someone like Dory Lou who's at a bit of a disadvantage without having the knowledge and the history to really do it. I'm going to say right now, number 1 and number 2 have to be Kane and Dolph Ziggler. They have been in the most Royal Rumbles, and neither one of them have won it. And God damn it, I still say the greatest missed opportunity that there ever was the 01 Rumble when Kane eliminated 11, 12 people, whatever it was, that Rumble, came down to the final 2 with Austin and lost. Kane should have eliminated Austin. They could have retconned it at No Way Out or whatever on a Raw. They could have had the 2 fight for the match at Mania, and Austin could have got it back that way. But God damn it, Kane should have won that Rumble. Period. Point blank. I will take that to the grave.
I can't disagree with that whatsoever. This thing's bugging the shit out of me. Screw this thing.
And then on the women's side, I must say either Sonya Deville or Rhea Ripley, because the 2 of them have the most eliminations in the Women's Rumble. Or not Sonya Deville, excuse me. Shayna Baszler is who I meant. Shayna and Bianca are tied at 8 eliminations in a single Rumble, and Rhea has 7.
Right.
Bianca has won a Rumble, though, but Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley have not won a Rumble as of yet. So I definitely would put those 2 at the top of my women's. And if rumors are to be believed, Rhea is a front runner for this year's women's.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Emmanuel, thank you. I appreciate your understanding.
Mikey?
If you saw... Wow. Good one, Sam.
Not this year. Not this year.
Texas is kind of far.
Well, and I got family there, so I'd have another reason to be there.
That's fair.
Thank you, Sam.
If you saw at the beginning of this discussion, I was erasing and writing, and I wrote this down right at the beginning when I saw the thing. I will agree with Renegade, Kane and Dolph. Yes. I've said for the past 4 years that AJ should win a Rumble.
Yep.
If AJ didn't break his ankle, there would have been a third option, I believe, if it wasn't Sammy or
Cody.
That would be a third option. AJ needs to win a Rumble. I would have liked to see also Sting. If he would have stayed healthy, he could have won a Rumble. But he had the issues with the neck. And then the last one, and if things didn't go sour, CM Punk could have won a Rumble.
CM Punk should have won a Rumble.
Yeah.
And then here's the big shocker on the women's side. And I wrote her name down. I erased it. if things didn't go sour, Sasha Banks would have won a Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Sasha should have won one of them right away. She was the Iron Man for at least one full year, if not two. So yeah.
Yep.
So I would have thrown those out there too.
Yep. Natty for me. Oh, go ahead.
Natty definitely should be one. The fact that she hasn't won a Rumble and had that moment's of crying shame.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if they did it, you know what? Save Natty winning the Rumble for next year.
There you go.
30th anniversary of her Uncle Brett and Lex Luger having that failed ending where they both hit at the same time.
Yep.
And then have to go to Mania and have the whole square off where Brett had the match earlier in the night before he got his match.
Yeah.
Just totally fucking recreate that shit next year. Have Natty and question mark come out at the same time and hit the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, if they fucking did the thing with Gigi and JC just recently on NXT, they can do it this way, and we don't have to have Vince or Hunter or anybody come out and blow their quads, power walk into the ring, nailing their kneecaps as they try to slide into the entrance.
And Jack Tunney walk out there and just be there because we hate Jack Tunney.
You know what's hilarious? They should have just never done that. Vince had a gold mine opportunity to just let it be as is too.
For real.
Like, I don't get it.
Well,
hindsight 2020, I don't get it either. But
yeah.
Natty and Lacey, have them do the thing.
Oh hell no! Don't do that with Lacey. Lacey needs to just go somewhere already.
She's the most American one. She's a Marine.
Yeah, and she also does.
Yeah.
And she also
And
believes
they built
autism is a disease. No thanks. Bye.
And they built up Lacey coming back with her military background and then turned her heel 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
No.
So, got bye.
It should be Natty and
One I
Shayna.
could think of.
There you go.
It should be Natty and Shayna.
JJ, you mentioned the Lex Brett thing. I'm gonna slightly cheat, and what I mean by that is, yes, Lex and Brett co-won the Rumble. They didn't want to Rumble by themselves, so I say Lex should have been one of the ones that won a Rumble by himself, and I say that he should have won the '94 Rumble. We still should have had Brett and Owen. Even Brett coming out and losing that because Owen beat him up earlier in the night. That's how you get Brett versus Owen at WrestleMania anyway. And then Lex should have won the damn title at WrestleMania. Yes, I'm saying it out loud. Please sign up, at the desk to the right to hang me an effigy later. But then have Brett and Lex at SummerSlam. Yes, we don't get the rise of Owen. That was so good. And I understand that. But when Brett gets the title back at SummerSlam, then you go Brett and Owen after that. Owen beats Brett at WrestleMania. Brett gets the title back at SummerSlam despite Owen winning King of the Ring and feeling he should have never contender to face Lex. That's how you build that. And then you get Survivor Series off instead of the inexplicable Bob Backlund bullshit. You have Brett versus Owen in a rematch of Survivor Series. Again, not hard to book, especially when you're looking back. So Lex for sure by himself. I still, to this day, say they missed the boat having Bryan not only enter the 2014 Rumble, but win the damn thing. Same with 2015. Bryan should have won the Royal Rumble at least once. Again, he enters in 14. We don't get that amazing build for Hunter and then for Mania. Eddie won a Rumble on SmackDown, I believe. So that's why they didn't have him win the Royal Rumble, I think is what happened. Again, Owen also should have won a Rumble. You're absolutely right. There's so many men that should have won a Rumble that didn't, but women on top of my list right now, because the Women's Rumble was so heavy with nostalgia, that's why I didn't, mention a lot of the past women. But yeah, there you go. Mick Foley. I think Mick Foley's moments, it's funny. Again, cheap plug for Conrad because it's free and he's not asking me to do this, damn him. Foley in 98 proved that he is Mr. January. I mean, 97, the thing with Terry that led to the distraction that caused Austin to win. 98, 3 Faces of Foley. 99 against The Rock, and one of the most brutal things I've ever seen to this day. And 2000 against Hunter. He may not be Mr. Rumble match, but he's definitely Mr. friggin' Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of guys that should have won that did. Looking back over 30 35 years. So Batista,
didn't he win?
Batista's won twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, Batista he shouldn't have won the second time he won.
He shouldn't have won either time he won.
Okay, but again, Jay, we still got John at winning the title at WrestleMania.
I understand that, but Cena was hotter than Batista at that point. Cena should have won the Rumble.
So again, this can be a much debated thing. We won't go too far, but again,
let's give you the solo shot in case you're up north. Watches this. Go for it.
The hotter angle going in Mania was Hunter and Batista, not John and JBL.
Yep.
End of sentence.
Truth.
End of sentence.
Sorry, JJ, but that's truth.
It was a tremendous angle on Thursday nights, but it wasn't the breakup of Evolution. It wasn't the end of the reign of terror. There you go.
Well,
that's what Batista was. So, anywho, women's side, Natty, Shayna, Sasha, Naomi with all her acrobatics not getting eliminated.
Kofi for the men, same thing. Like Kofi. The fact that Kofi hasn't won it.
Forgot about Kofi.
Yeah, Kofi.
And Kofi not winning, Kofi, having the moment at Chamber and not winning. Again, Kofi Mania is not a thing without that chili pot getting stirred like a mug for 3 months.
May I have a pick before everybody takes my picks? Because I've got nothing left. Here's one that I don't think people realize has never happened. And it should have happened in one particular year in 2012. Jericho. Jericho should have won the Rumble in 2012. I don't care what you say. They gave it to fucking Sheamus.
We don't talk about the Sheamus Rumble because they're having the Sheamus and Bryan at WrestleMania. We don't talk about that very much anymore.
We don't talk about Bruno?
No, we talk about Bruno. That's Renegade rule number 4. We talk about Bruno.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about Sheamus because Uncle Jeff almost destroyed the original Casa 18 Studios after that WrestleMania match with Bryan. Like, legit. Jeff's about ready to destroy the house. You guys were there. You saw it. You were there with me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Happy Ginger, man. 18 fucking seconds. Anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
But yes, Bryan, Jericho. Jade, you were saying Jericho. Missed opportunity again.
Go ahead, James, if you have any others before they get taken from you.
To be honest, I feel like there may have been a point where Angle probably should have been a winner, and I feel like that should have been a given, to be fair. Definitely. And, it's funny, like, he was the champion going into Mania that year in 2006, but maybe it should have been, I don't know, because then you don't get Mysterio to win it, though. That's the problem. Like, if things could have been good enough, I feel like Angle could have been the one to win the 2007 Rumble as opposed to Undertaker, although you don't get the classic ending of that Rumble with Michaels and Taker, which then spawned their freaking WrestleMania series pretty much.
Yep.
So,
Angle is definitely a good one. The question is what year?
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
because you can't do it. You can't do it in 2000.
No, choked out.
Yeah, exactly. He was a rookie by that point anyway. 2001, no way, because Kane and Austin. 2002, he was the champion going. Or no, 2002 maybe, but actually maybe would have been a better match if it was Angle.
If Hunter doesn't get that ungodly pop at the Garden, you can argue Angle for 2002 every day.
Yeah, probably. So maybe 2002, because that's the only year I can think. Because 2003, he was the champion going in. 2004, I think he went in, he was going to be challenging for the championship anyway, and he was injured at that point, so they were trying to save him for Mania. 2005. They were building to that match with Shawn, and then 2006, that was Mysterio's time. So there was no year, I think, where Angle could have won the Rumble in his time, other than 2002, probably. Right. And that was taken away because of the pop at the Garden.
Well, but again, he had the whole series with Hunter between the Rumble and Mania. The number one contender match with Stephanie, and that whole.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Yeah, probably. So yeah, and then maybe, I'm wondering maybe Eddie.
Yeah.
If Ed maybe because if Eddie stayed healthy, and they saved him because there was a chance they could have, but they didn't get to him in time. Like if in 06 it would have been, I think, his. From the way they were booking it too, it looked like it would have been Eddie's.
Well, and again, you hear talk about what would have happened at the tapings that night. There's a strong rumor that he was going to become the world heavyweight champion at that SmackDown.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So even if he went, it doesn't mean he's going to lose it, or he can it could have been him and Mysterio at the Rumble at WrestleMania, which would have been awesome too. So
yeah.
Again, opportunities.
I don't know if that's 5. I may have given you more than 5, but there you go. I lost count. As far as a women, for women who need to win it, Shayna needs that so fucking bad.
She needs something.
Yeah, like because they screwed her over when they had Charlotte freaking win it and then challenge for the NXT Championship. By the way, how well did that go? Well, not very well at all. So I don't know why they didn't just give it to freaking to Shayna, especially when you consider the fact that year Shayna won the Chamber anyway.
Yeah.
And buried the women's roster in the process in the Chamber. So and then lost to Becky Lynch. So why didn't you just have her win the Rumble? I don't know. It was
lost to Becky, who then went away for pregnancy leave.
Yep.
To be fair to the entirety of the world, 2020 was a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I think in fairness to Becky, she's like, well, I'm gonna get pregnant so I can be the fuck out of here.
Right? I'm going home.
I'm going home. I'm having a child, and you can't stop me. Fuck you.
That's it.
So that's pretty good. I enjoyed that conversation. I wanted to try to get some of this out so that we didn't do it too much during the actual call of the Rumble next week.
Yes.
We have I think Statboy has one more. You had your hand up.
There was one more. Bray Wyatt.
Yes. Although
but not the Fiend.
This time might come though soon. Still time.
Again, we'll talk more about his match on Saturday, but I think Saturday is going to be a real big indicator of where they're going with Bray, how much faith they have in him now, and what the future holds for that man and the gimmick. Because again, I'm not going to spoil SmackDown for JJ or anybody else that hasn't seen it in the chat room or on screen, but it definitely took a turn on last night's show. So we'll see.
Yeah.
And that I 100% agree with on Rumble being the only themed named pay-per-view. Yes. As far as the match name goes, yes, because every other show that has a match theme name, the match has been completely neutered at this point.
The exception may be for Money in the Bank. But the rest of them I definitely agree because Money in the Bank is still a match that you can only do once a year, and trying to cram 2 Money in the Bank matches at a WrestleMania is just a little bit too much.
Yes.
But the Elimination Chamber, the Hell in a Cell, the TLCs, all these, those need to go somewhere.
Yes. I definitely...
They need to die a quicker death than Katie Vick.
Oh.
Well, the actual death was pretty quick. I mean, it was a car accident, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about car accidents right now. That timing.
I apologize for that one.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we were just trying to go with the flow, bro. You're fine.
Yeah. But, if there was only one Money in the Bank match, I would keep it WrestleMania. But because the women have one now, definitely needs its own showcase.
So, good conversation. I enjoyed the way that went. Sound like I'm repeating myself because I am. Let's go to our final commercial before we come back, do our wrap-ups, our plugs, and everything. This is just a taste of what is coming up on the Jeff Meacham Network Multiverse of Media watch-alongs from now through WrestleMania and just a little bit beyond. Stay tuned. All right, now Jeff Meacham looks like he's about to go wait in line down at the shelter to battle B-Rabbit and Papa Doc.
Oh, no.
I'll take my ass to bed after this shit. Cold.
You're cold?
You know, I realize I'm not on the East Coast. Shut the hell up, all y'all. But it's cold. It's California cold, all right?
Okay, fine. Yeah, because it's like 37 degrees here right now.
Hey, you know what? It was actually 37 degrees last week. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, and we're supposed to start getting storms again tomorrow, so we'll see what happens.
According to my phone, it is 32 here, so we're actually colder than y'all for a change.
Yeah.
We are at freezing temperatures.
And hey, by the way, Mother Nature, go get laid. It's not a temper tantrum. You're pissing me off. Bipolar bitch. Anyway.
So Sam Fisher makes an interesting point about putting money in the bank on SummerSlam. SummerSlam has been too much sizzle, not enough steak for too long.
Again, if there's only one of them, I agree.
And then Daniel says, thank God WWE doesn't have the rights to King of the Mountain.
Oh, my God.
I mean...
Well, no, they just created the, what's it called? The Iron Survivor with the penalty blocks.
Right.
Jeff Jarrett's lasting little creative touch before he left.
No, he was trying to be a Sith Lord in the first segment, Daniel. Go back and relook at that one.
Segment one. Gotta go back and watch the whole show.
Jeff is the wardrobe man. He's the wardrobe man.
When we're the same temperature at this time of night as New York City, it's time to wrap up and get our asses in front of the fire. This is bullshit. Too damn great.
Yeah, well, we've got the rain starting here in about 45 minutes.
Y'all can have that friggin' rain after last week's bullshit ruined my damn day. Anyway.
Is it over?
What over?
The rain.
For now.
Okay.
For now. Like, you know.
Now. Yeah.
There was 1% chance of rain on Thursday. Then it opened the skies up. And much like JJ's about to storm for not staying on topic, we need to get going. So let's go.
Yep.
No, JJ just went away.
Oh.
JJ.
There he is. Okay, Joe.
Hi, JJ.
He was going away. He was going away on purpose to prove a point. Y'all didn't get the subtle sledgehammer.
Hi, JJ.
It's all yours, JJ.
Thank you. Mikey and Dory Lou. Let's talk about what we've got coming up for y'all this week.
We've got all the stats for the divisional playoffs. That's coming up. 2 games are already in the books. Tomorrow's the big game between Dallas and San Francisco. So I'll be sitting on the couch ready for that one. Was a little more controversy brewing with Stephen A. Smith that I'm deciding on whether if I want to pull the trigger on that one again. We'll see. I don't know if I want to beat that horse any more than I already have. But and of course the XFL preview should be coming up within a week or so.
Got it right.
So you know, we'll have our football stats. We'll have our hockey NHL updates. Anything special that pops up between now and then, we'll touch base on those. And always Dory Lou's Weekly Delight.
There you go. And you can follow the Barkeeps.
At LB Kid 1977.
And at Hathaway Lou.
There you go.
There we go.
It's the part where you give your plugs.
James, aside from the video that we ran earlier, is there anything else that you would like to plug or say to your fans?
Well, I guess I'll promote this now since I fucked up the time and it's already on my boy's channel, Owen's channel now. You guys can currently check out, as long as I can get the two of us on the screen, and also share my screen. There we go. All right. And there I am, and with Owen, and we review Royal Rumble 2000 from Madison Square Garden. You could also check out Casey and Owen's retro of Royal Rumble 2008, 8 years later, which we had first. Don't ask me how that works. Just go with it. Anyway, there you go. That's pretty much it as far as plugs go. Everything you saw in my trailer is pretty much what's coming up. And the only thing I have to plug is that bed's looking mighty comfy for me to sleep in because I'm really tired.
All right.
Time for the sleeping.
Time for the sleepy.
Jeff.
That would be me.
Go ahead and talk about what you've got coming up this week.
I got too much shit going on this week. I won't be on No DQ tomorrow, so you don't have to watch it if you don't want to.
But for those of you that do, let's get the shill out there for Rift.
All right. So Aaron and the team will be on the No DQ review. Of course, they'll talk about what we talked about already, but we'll see. Raw recap. Of course, Aaron's going to recap Raw 3, but I don't want you to watch it now because I want you to watch AJ and I covering Raw for real. So, SmackDown recap on Friday. Of course, it'll be this final show before the Royal Rumble. So, Aaron will definitely want you to watch that and give his final thoughts going into Saturday's show, and of course his recap of Dynamite, which is each and every Wednesday. I need to get a better graphic for Dynamite because it's a new logo. Monday, I mentioned it just a second ago, JJ and I, as well as Noah and James during the Eastern feed, will be covering the 30th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. I can't believe I'm actually saying that out loud. People were so sure WWE was going to die and no more Raw and whatever, and here we are. So that's going to be, in theory, at 8 o'clock Eastern. I honestly think we may just go ahead with it, even if Noah is not on for play-by-play. I'll see if I can get my voice ready, and James and I will cover the first half, and you and I go the second half, Jay. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But definitely check out whether we are on the entirety of both broadcasts or not. Raw 30 looks like it's going to be a fun show, so please check it out. Give whatever love you're capable of giving WWE, give them it that night. How about that?
Hey, listen, if Noah can't do it because he's sickly, I will do what he did at Wrestle Kingdom and do a solo. Try it out. Let's do it out.
I mean, like Jeff said, if you can show WWE a little bit of love, show them love by watching Raw is 30. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of surprises, people that you used to grow up watching. Watch our coverage of it. Super chat us, support us. We're here providing so much content for you guys on the Jeff Meacham Network, the Casa D18 Studios, the J. Hebert side of things, J. Hebert side 95, the Simple Man Studio, the entire multiverse of media.
Yes.
We greatly benefit off of your guys' views and clicks and support. So make sure you support us for that. Anything else, Jeff?
Oh yes. The plug of streams never ends. Tuesday, Statboy Sports Bar that I'm producing. There we go. And then, of course, 10 o'clock, 10:05 Eastern, 7:05 Pacific. Talk Wrestling will be live this week, and I will be on there. I'll also be live on the Greg Cherry Show this week, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, as I will next week. But this week, he's doing his annual Rumble Draws show. So we'll be taking donations through his PayPal, Streamlabs. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. For Rumble Draw picks. You can check out the archives of going one-on-one with Adam Contrast. That was last week's entry interview. So much fun talking to Adam. This coming week on Talk Wrestling, which will not be Monday. It's been postponed, rescheduled for. There's a graphic. There it is. Friday, January.
You said Talk Wrestling, so that's why I was like,
yeah. You meant Dad's on Wrestling.
Yeah, I meant Dad's. I'm sorry. Don't mind. Like I said,
everyone's CP.
My voice shot and I'm sleepy as hell. So JJ and I will be taping that. I think we agreed to tape it Wednesday because it's the only day I'm not like completely batshit crazy busy this week. So yeah, again, now JJ said Rumble entry surprises. We can't cover anything else in the Rumble reviews, just the entry of the match.
Yeah, that was the topic idea. Surprise entrance in the Rumble.
Then I need to go back and fix my list, and then we'll do that before Wednesday. So then Thursday, you can do your poster Thursday if you have any, and then Friday, Aaron stuff, and then Saturday, the Royal Rumble itself. My goodness, we are.
Unfortunately, I don't have the graphic loaded in, so we'll just throw this one up for right now.
That'll work. Yes. I actually had you use that one for your talking about the topic because it's from St. Louis, so yeah, family ties there.
Yeah, I was so last minute trying to get things loaded into the stream tonight because of other stuff that was going on. So I apologize for not having all the graphics for the plugs.
Hey, brother, it's been a crazy week. Like I said, it's been a weird week. So it is what it is. We will get our shit in next Saturday because next Saturday is the Royal Rumble. It's JJ's favorite show of the year. We're going to be covering all afternoon starting at whatever the hell, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock Eastern, whatever the hell time WWE wants to go. We'll go an hour before them because we can.
It's gonna be our coverage for the show is probably gonna be about as chaotic as the Rumble match itself. You're gonna have Noah on play-by-play. You're gonna have myself and James on color. You're gonna have Jeff chiming in here and there because he's actually going to be home and able to participate. You're going to have Stat Boy popping in during the Rumble matches with all the stats, amount of times they've been in the Rumble, whether they've won or lost, a total number of eliminations over their cumulative performances, all those type of things that JR, King, Corey Graves, you name it, Michael Cole, Taz, JBL, Booker T, all the commentators throughout the entire history of WWE would give you. Stat Boy is going to be here on the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiversa Media, giving you all those stats for us.
I'll do my best.
And Mike, you look like
you've just heard me say what you're going to be doing, so you got a week to get those numbers together, boy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy. That's a lot.
Crunch them.
Know what you're going to be doing while you're watching football tomorrow?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Watching Dim Boys. That's right.
That's right. I'll work all the way up till kickoff if I have to.
Okay.
Sam, to answer your question, yes, we used to allow subscribers onto Open Mic Night if they super chatted $10 or more. So in the future, obviously not tonight because we're wrapping things up, but in the future, if you would like to be a part of the Open Mic Night panel, a $10 super chat will get you the link and you can come on screen and chat with us. And then there are occasionally Talk Wrestlings where Jeff will open the forum up to people depending on what the topic at hand is.
Right. Yeah. This last week was an example, but yeah.
Yeah. Stat Boy Sports Bar. If you are into professional sports, just private message Stat Boy or Jeff. Let them know, and they will try to figure out a way for you to become a part of that show.
Absolutely.
So that's another possibility. My shows predominantly are taped, so those have very little opportunity for audience participation, at least joining for the filming and whatnot. But the ones that we do live, Open Mic Night, Stat Boy Sports Bar, and occasionally Talk Wrestling, are the ones where there is the most opportunity. As far as my plugs go, And again, I don't have graphics loaded in, so I'm going to try to blow through this really quickly. But tomorrow, as always, the Warzone, the weekly acquisition report. It's kind of a little hodgepodge this week. There's something in there that I found at Goodwill, something that I found at Target, a few things that I found at Big Lots. Just kind of nice little arrangement, if you will, a gift basket assortment, if you will. Monday, we've got Rock of Ages. Wednesday is going to be Little Shop of Horrors, and Friday will be Moulin Rouge. Those two were originally supposed to be flip-flopped, Moulin Rouge on Wednesday, Little Shop on Friday, but I haven't watched Moulin Rouge yet. So in order to try to get things canned and edited so that when me and Jeff film on Wednesday, I can crank that editing out before Friday, I'm going to flip-flop the two. So Moulin Rouge will be Friday instead of Wednesday. So I got those coming up over the course of this week. My new release Saturday for next week will be Guillermo del Toro's take on the Pinocchio tale.
Nice.
Not the Disney Plus version that had Tom Hanks's Geppetto. And the last time I gave Guillermo del Toro a chance, it was his take on the Wolfman, and we all know how I felt about that. So hopefully this will be better than that.
Have you seen Moulin Rouge prior to watching it for the review?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I've seen it once before, all the way through. And then the story I like to tell, I saw a couple scenes of it before I saw it all the way through, as me and my good old buddy Gordon movie hopped one time. We had seen a movie, and then we hopped into Moulin Rouge to kill a little bit of time before hopping into the second movie. And I forget exactly what was going on, but it was one of those super dramatic scenes between Nicole and Ewan. And I had to, being an avid goer to Rocky Horror, I had to bite my tongue from yelling out, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope."
Was that the day that I ratted you out, or was
no?
that
Because you weren't there that day.
Okay, thank God.
Now you would have been murdered that day because Gordon would not have taken that bullshit. Sam says that if Statboy covers soccer, he's there. Otherwise, he'd like to come into open mic night in the future. Yeah, like I said, absolutely. All you got to do is super chat $10, and you're more than welcome to come on to open mic night.
Absolutely.
I have seen the two Ron Perlman Hellboy films, but I have not seen the newest one with David Harbour, I think's his name, as Hellboy.
No.
And I have not seen either of the other two movies that you mentioned. So no.
Cheap Water was okay.
So that is what is coming up for me over the course of the week. Once again, that's Rock of Ages, Little Shop of Horrors, Moulin Rouge, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and then, of course, as everyone has alluded to, as we've been talking about for the better part of the last hour and a half, damn near 2 hours, the Royal Rumble next Saturday. I'm so super looking forward to that. We shall see what Triple H and the WWE machine has in store for us that evening. As always, you can find me on my socials. Instagram, the Renegade JJ Williams, Twitter at ROWJJ Williams, and then YouTube, Casa D18 Studios. Try to help me get my views up over on the YouTube side of things. I'm at 3,291 public watch hours out of 4,000 needed to get monetized. I'm just a little over 700 view hours away. If everybody can start watching some of the old stuff, there's a 500 plus episode of Renegade Reviews playlist. Just put that on, let it run, go to work, run your errands, something. Few days that'll run through all the episodes. That'll be a huge help.
I've been actually encouraging people in my circle to do this, JJ, and this is way YouTube algorithm unfriendly, but I don't really give a shit at this point because we need to get your hours up. If people get up on a random day and they're going to work or they're going out for a significant length of time, go onto the Casa feed of a pay-per-view. try to go into one of our watch-alongs of a major WWE show. Hell, we did freaking 11 almost 12-hour show at the end of December. Put that shit on. If everybody that watches those pay-per-views goes back and does that again, or tells a friend, they tell a friend, you're gonna have your hours up in no time.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
My goal is to get monetized now by WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
If we all work together, there's no reason why we shouldn't get there beforehand.
And again,
like Jeff's saying, it's the old tell a friend. You tell two people, and they tell two people, and they tell two people, and so on and so forth. We get those view hours up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And again, everybody remember something. JJ mentioned the 3,200 hours. That number resets every single day at midnight because the total amount of watch hours we need to get monetized on YouTube is within the 12-month period you are ending on that day. It has to go back a year, exactly 1 year prior. So tomorrow is the hell's today's date? Tomorrow's the 22nd. So
rain has started.
That particular calendar for JJ's 4,000 needed is January 23rd, 2022. And it does that every single freaking day.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a pain in the ass to get monetized.
Which thankfully last year at this time, I wasn't doing episodes. I was still on my hiatus. I didn't come back until May officially. There was the little soft opening at the end of April when I did a few new releases.
Right.
So prior to WrestleMania weekend, I had no new content going up for it really to be affecting the hours all that much, which is why if we can get things going by Mania,
then
we'll be good pretty much. Yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate that you watch my videos in full, or at least try to. And yes, YouTube is getting more and more complicated every year.
Oh, yeah.
They've got to, because at the end of the day, what everyone's got to remember, whether we like it or not, they're a business.
Yep.
They're trying to make money just like we're trying to make money.
Yep.
So they're going to do whatever they can to increase their top end themselves.
Yeah. And remember, YouTube didn't used to have to compete with every other major corporate brand in the world, Disney, Paramount, all these guys for streaming stuff. They were the only game in town, and now they're not. So I get it.
So that brings this week's episode of Open Mic Night to an end. I want to thank James Hebert, as always, for being here. Like to thank our barkeeps from Tuesday night, Stat Boy Mike Caldwell and Dory Lou. Thank you for being here this evening. To the man whose name is above him on the marquee, Jeff motherfucking Meacham. Thank you very much for being able to be here this evening and joining us.
And next week.
To the 15 people that are still in the room watching us, we thank you guys for tuning in and being there with us the entire time. And until Monday night, when we provide watch-along coverage to you guys for WWE Raw is 30, I am the Renegade JJ Williams. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.